Goes by T-REV, so we'll call him that as well. And he joins us now.
Voiceless people get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss. This something that we find important. Rap game strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will lead up. All my life I strive for greatness. I manifested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned. It's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps.
Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the stream. Monday, 10/23/23. What is going on? Couple days before Bryan court date, which is in 3 days. Can't wait to check that out. But I want to holler at everybody on here. Delana, shout out to Delana, Regina, Archive, Glitter. What's up, Glitter? How you doing? CKI in the building, Gypsy, Gold Dust Woman, Leezer. Who else we got in here? Cindy. I see all the great familiar faces. Shout out to y'all. Love seeing y'all in here. We put that shit out. I don't need to be spoken. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate the support to the channel. Thank you. CKI, you're the best. Always bright, cheery, and thanks for being you. Let's see what Alicia in the building. What's going on, Alicia? Welcome. Nice to see all the familiar faces in here. Sunshine. We got Sunshine. Who else? Hollis. Wow. Oh, Hollis. Thank you, by the way. I did get your birthday gift. I just didn't open it yet. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Shout out to Hollis. I just didn't crack it yet. No, I did get it today, though. Thank you. Delana, thank you. I appreciate that. They say they're like, get new clap sounds, Rev. Get new clap sounds. If it's too loud, I will. What's going on? Mr. Rosebud, it's a crazy world. There's army drills around here. At the same time, there is drag racing out the street. What? Where you at? Where you located at, Mr. Rosebud? That's wild as hell. Gold Dust Woman, Regina Wright, you are awesome, and we are blessed to be family. Leezer says, love being part of the Rev Game fam. Best 10 months ever. Keep smashing the T. Thank you, Leisure. UK in the building. But we got some stuff to talk about. So, Jennifer, I've been keeping a close eye on the Jennifer Oliskaga case. Oliskagas. Now, word that I've got from somebody, a friend of mine on Twitter who actually is close to that family, is saying that it seems that they're grieving. It's been about 8 days since they found those human remains, but we'll get into that as the show goes on. What's going on, Georgianne? Welcome. Nice to see you. Definitely like keeping an eye on this case closely. I feel like they're in the midst of a homicide investigation or some type of search or some type of investigation, because 8 days they're either trying to still identify by maybe dental records. I have no idea. That's just me honestly speculating. But she did say that the family seemed to be grieving. So, I mean, that kind of hints me to believe they think that that's her, because they're saying it wasn't that far from the vehicle. So from where the vehicle was found, they're saying that it was like within a mile. So I don't know. That's what I heard. And as we hear more, I'll definitely update you guys. What's going on, Amanda, Debbie Deming? Thank you for coming by. I appreciate that. Amanda says, hey. You got Richard Allen. Hold on. You got Richard Allen's attorneys quitting and shit? Like, it's crazy. Clicker, aka T-REV, good afternoon from Alaska. Shout out to you. You got the prison escapees. They found the vehicle. I seen that. I've been keeping up with that. Caroline, what's going on? Let's jump into it though. Bryankohberger returns to court. He's about to return to court on the 26th, and we will be live. I will be live here on the 26th covering that. Rowena Moses, evening everyone. What's going on? Thank you for coming by. Lisa says hello from Sydney, Australia. Shout out to Sydney, Australia. I actually just shipped the package to the last person that won the candle draw. It was Ghost Devil out to Australia. Shout out to Australia. Tina. Hey, y'all. Good to catch a live. Nice. I'm glad you came by. Thank you. CKI. Thank you. Lexi Texi. Thank you. How you been? I don't know. I'm chilling. I'm chilling today. Thank you again, CK. I appreciate the support to the channel as seen by a subscriber. Thank you. Doozy in the building. Cali Thunder. Everybody showing love. I see you. I see you. Let's get started. I want to talk about it because this court date's coming up and I don't know what to expect because they want to get shit dismissed, but I don't know how, they want to get this motion dismissed or whatever. And I'm not understanding where they think they can get that done. I'm just not understanding that part.
On November 13th, 2022, at around 4 a.m., 4 college students were brutally murdered. Each would soon become household names, known for their deaths, but remembered for their lives. Kaylee Gonsalves, she was 21 and born in Concord, California. Her family describes her as sociable, strong, and a hard worker.
Kaylee was our middle child out of 5.
This is going to be wild.
She was always competitive. She was smack dab middle. So Steven and Olivia were a little bit older. And Aubrey were a little bit younger.
What's going on, Blank? Nice to see you. Always good to see you too, Sonya.
So she kind of had to figure out where to fit in, and she definitely did.
Maddie Mogan, also 21, was best friends with Kaylee since childhood. Maddie's family says she was known for her offbeat humor and her ability to make others laugh and smile.
She was so great. She lit up every room she'd come in, and she was just so positive and fun, and we love her and miss her so much.
20-year-old Xana Cornoto grew up in Idaho and was a talented gymnast as a child. In high school, she played volleyball, track, and soccer. Xana was going to school for marketing.
Xana was such a light in my life and so many others, and she knew and understood me more than anyone. Losing her is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, and it has left me heartbroken. 20-year-old Ethan Chapin loved sports and country music. He was Xana's boyfriend, a triplet who was incredibly close to his family.
We are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him.
What is true?
And I want to remind you that that's the most important message that we have for you and your families is to make sure that
we have that tribute on here. I actually have that. What's going on, John? Shout out to nice to see John, man. I hope you've been doing well, brother. Nice to see you. Same with a lot of you guys. See a lot of the same familiar people. Jersey, Tammy. We had this as the tribute. I know this was on, I forget. I don't know. I know they used it on News Nation and a few different places, but
you spend as much time as possible with those people.
Anything about Jennifer Mendez case, they haven't released the autopsy yet. No, but a friend of mine that follows them on Facebook and etc., they seem to be grieving, she said. So I don't know. She said it seems like that the remains were hers, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. So not confirmed at all. That's pure. I don't know. Like I didn't see screenshots or anything of it, so I can't even say how they were speaking. But she did say it seems like they were grieving. So they're kind of being silent during this time. It's been almost 8-9 days now. So
because time is precious and it's something you can't get back.
What's going on, Shayna?
Amazingly tragic story, tragic case, but it's going to be a trial. They're going to fight it.
19 months. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. 19 months. 19 months. Love you, John. Good brother right there. Fooled me for years.
Dismissed. Motion to dismiss October 26th, which is next Thursday, in the case of the Idaho.
And Steven, like, I think it's him, right? But at the same time, I'd love to hear your theory in general. Just I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on the case. You say Bryan is not the murderer. You think it's someone else. Maybe you see it differently. I'd love to hear it.
Students who were murdered. We'll see
I
what
like you,
happens
Stephen. You've been with me
there.
for a while too.
But there's more things to talk about. First, let's take a look at the accused killer back inside the courtroom. Here he is.
Right.
Once again, walking in, you know, you look at him, we all know what he's accused of, so you kind of look at him a little differently. But I think everything we learned about him is that there was always something wrong with him, always something a little odd. You know, not just like a regular guy. There was something a little different. We heard statements from students who had him in school out west in Washington State, and it's
10 minutes.
It's bizarre. So how about his family? Where's his family in all of this? Well, we really haven't heard from his immediate family. But
I heard the aunt spoke out. Anybody here different? I thought I seen a video earlier about the aunt speaking out from Kohberger. And then I heard a story, you know, lingering out there about something about Bryan Kohberger's dad's brother. I don't know what it was, some type of rumor. I don't know if it's true or not.
The U.S. Sun spoke to the accused killer's alleged aunt because, you know, she was anonymous. She didn't give a name or anything. And this is what the alleged aunt told the U.S. Sun. She said her heart goes out to the victims' families, but she also feels the accused killer was not well and had battled for years with mental health problems. To me, he was humble and quiet. I didn't see any violence in him. But if you're not on the right medication, you can be triggered. I think he may have snapped. I don't have an answer for why he was depressed. I guarantee he had a wonderful childhood. Michael, his dad, is a wonderful man. He was a janitor, and his wife is a beautiful woman. She's a teacher, and they worked at the same school. She questioned on how she feels he will cope if he gets life behind bars. His aunt shook her head and replied, I think he may try to kill himself. So definitely there's something off about him, but that's not going to be the defense. There's no defense like that.
Yeah, not in Idaho. You're right, Vinny. There's definitely no defense like that in Idaho, especially for mental health. You're out back there, Bryan Kohberger. But guilty, right? Innocent till proven guilty, right? But damn. So his aunt, I don't know, just from what the aunt said, like she specifically said, I don't have an answer for why he was depressed. I guarantee he had a wonderful childhood. Michael, his dad, is a wonderful man. He was a janitor, and his wife is a beautiful woman. She's a teacher, and they worked at the same school. Question on how she feels he will cope if he gets life behind bars. Now, the aunt thinks that he will take his own life. She must, I mean, she knows some things. She must know some things about him, right?
Defense like that.
It's an alibi defense for the 6 months.
He wasn't there. He was out for a drive by himself all night.
Shelly, it's nice to see you.
Let's bring back in our think tank Bernardo Villalona, Sue Ann Robinson, Ben Chu. Ben, I just...
Let me catch up to
they've got the motion to dismiss. I don't expect it to be successful, but it might give us a sneak preview of what some of the arguments will be at the trial. But from what we've heard, it seems like the basis of this defense case is that he has an alibi. And his alibi is something like he was out all night driving around by himself.
Bing bong.
That kind of sounds like what the killer did.
Yeah, it's not the strongest alibi we've ever heard, is it?
No, not even close. Bernard, the alibi sounds like it's a piece of evidence for the prosecution.
Exactly. So, Vinny, I don't think that's
that boy. Hold up.
Not even close. Bernard, the alibi.
Not the strongest alibi we've.
You hear that about the alibi?
It's not the strongest alibi we've ever heard, is it?
We said that.
No, not even close. Bernard, the alibi sounds like it's a piece of evidence for the prosecution.
Exactly. So, Vinny, I don't think that's the defense that they're going to put forward, an alibi. I think what they're going to put forward is to say that the prosecution hasn't proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Because think about it, Vinny, if they're going to put a defense of an alibi that he was somewhere else, who are they going to put on the stand to testify about that? Is Bryan Kohberger the only person in a position to say that he was out driving all night? And does that make him and put him in a...
Miss Potts, make sure she threw that in there. She said, alleged aunt. So, I mean, do we just think it's some random Joe Schmo and they're gonna just let him in to, or let her speak and say that she's the aunt without? I don't know. You'd be surprised though. You'd be freaking surprised.
A positive light, it doesn't. So I think they're just going to keep it to that the
What's going on,
prosecution
Linda?
hasn't proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
I know that's the standard and all, Sue Ann, but that, I mean, if I'm accused of being a mass murderer in the middle of the night, I would think I'd have a better story if I was factually innocent. Do you agree or disagree with me?
I agree with you, but I'm still stuck on the anonymous aunt that wants to be distant but has so much to say. It's like, pick a lane. Either you want to distance yourself from the case, you don't have anything to offer, or you have all of this stuff to say about his childhood, him being depressed. You don't know why he's depressed, but his childhood was great. Like, are you distancing yourself? Or do you have something to say? I feel like you need to pick a lane. If you're going to be a family member, either you're going to offer something or you're going to distance yourself. You can't do both. In terms of them offering an alibi that only he can attest to, that would be a tragic defense. That would be that would not be a good idea. I think their motion to dismiss, like Bernarda said, is going to go forward and say, listen, they don't have enough evidence to tie him to this place and time. And that's fine. You know, the defense, as I always say, the defense is going to defend.
Yeah, they have to.
You don't have
the way our
enough
system
evidence.
works. But Bernardo, what do you think they'll say about his DNA being on the knife sheath?
So, Vinny, I think that they're going to challenge the DNA. It may be a battle of the experts where they bring an expert in to say that it wasn't reliable. So either they go that route or they're going to say that it's something about the collection of that sheath and how that DNA was allegedly collected. Was it in the proper protocol? Or even say that possibly law enforcement planted it, but it doesn't work with the timeline because he wasn't a suspect until
law enforcement planted it. That's the big discussion here. Did law enforcement plant it? Well, if they had body cam, wouldn't that kind of push that narrative out the way? Right. If there's body cam footage of it visibly being there when you first walk in, then it definitely wasn't planted by law enforcement. If that's the case, right? I'm not saying it was or wasn't. I'm just saying in general, if you see an officer go up there and check and you could invisibly see this knife sheath on the body cam footage, then I think it kind of would take, you would say, hey, law enforcement didn't plant this in case they were here beforehand. Allegedly. I'm just speculating on.
So long.
In general, I'm not saying that happened either.
Recovered. So there's a couple of avenues, but quite honestly, I don't think that they're going to be successful. That is the strongest piece of evidence that the prosecution has against Bryan Kohlberger.
Yeah, it can't be one of those defenses like in the OJ case where it was planted, because they had the killer's DNA before they had his DNA to match it up. But we shall see, folks. Again, next Thursday, big day in that case.
Brand new details were just released that gives us insight into quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohlberger. Kohlberger's alleged aunt is breaking.
Yeah, this is about the aunt. So this is about the aunt part.
Her silence on the horrifying case out of Idaho and revealing more details about what may have led up to the tragic killings. The aunt, who remained anonymous.
So what are you guys' predictions for the court date here in 3 days? What are your guys' predictions? Like, what do you think is going to happen at this court date? On Thursday, what is going to happen? I see you, Reb. What do you think is going to happen? It's a crazy alibi. Yeah, he's definitely doing that, driving, no doubt. Toyeri says, what officer would screw around with a crime scene that is the worst in Idaho history? That's just, yeah, I mean, it's not said that an officer screwed around with the crime scene. It's not said that, that's not put out there at all that we know of anyways. Now, there's been shit that's been brought up that we really, we don't know the correct answers to, like the whole officer, them being investigated by internal affairs and all different. I don't know what's going on there and who was involved in that, but I think we may have found that, and that video is on my channel from a couple months ago.
spoke to the U.S. Sun and said she struggles to watch the news.
You said they're going to let him off? Sarah says continued. Wow. So you think it'll get continued? Kay, the geeky angel, says he will lose the motion. Doozy says, next year early, not dismissed. Salisa thinks delayed. Lori thinks motion dismissed. Glenda thinks not dismissed. Shelly says, what is the court date listed as? The 26th, October 26th right now. They're not going to just drop it. Yeah, I don't think they're just going to drop it. I don't think they're just going to drop it. I think there's going to be some type of battle in there on Thursday. More bullshit from the defense on Thursday. Motion dismiss, I think, says Claus. Now, let's be realistic. The DNA was found and had to be tracked backwards to obtain a suspect. Yeah, they went through some loops to definitely get a hit on it. Searching down the family tree shit. I forget what it's called, but FTA, well, damn, T-REV, half of it closed public, half of it probably should. And I don't know. I heard JLR can go in. I seen him post about that. What's going on, Autumn? Hey, T-REV, I hope you're doing well. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well too. My thing is, now Georgianne says, my thing is, if whoever did the killing, wouldn't you think there would be a handprint somewhere, even if it had gloves on, or even if they had gloves on? You know, funny you say that, because there's a video that popped out early on, and for people that been here the whole entire time that it, you know, we covered this case and talked about it and looked at different aspects and different videos of the house in general. In fact, there's one by the Idaho Tribune. They took this video around November 19th, or maybe even before that. I want to say it was right after, or maybe 2 or 3 days after the homicides. Idaho Tribune was there. Forensic officers were in there. You had all different types of people walking in and out of the crime scene. And there's this, like I said, you could see the video and you could see like handprints and fingerprints and all different types of stuff on these windows. I seen like a nose. I don't even know. I'd have to go back and look at it. I have the video in my file somewhere, but it's interesting to say the least. We seen a handprint and posted about it. I remember that actually. In fact, I want to say Prosser Gang sent me a screenshot. She said there's a handprint on the window. If Prosser Gang is in here, I'm almost positive it was her that took a screenshot of it and actually caught it. Or it was Marlena Cantu. One of them two did it.
As detectives reveal facts from the early morning hours of November 13th.
Jersey Junebug says they can't plant his DNA before they are even aware of who BK is. Doozy, good narration. Johnny can't make a decision. Oh, Johnny can't make a decision to save his life. I meant trial will go forth. Zonia Price says, hi, everyone. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they're going to drop it either. Not dismissed. Yeah, not dismissed. Too much evidence to dismiss. Maria says dismissed. So, I mean, there's some splits here. Hey, guys, motion dismissed. I mean, there's rumors that allegedly some of these grand juries, you know, people who were on this secret grand jury talked to some of the victims' families. Now, if you listen to Nancy Grace's last podcast, like I did, and we definitely did on stream, they specifically said and responded and said, if anybody believes that, you know what I mean? It's that, like, that it was absolutely absurd, pretty much is what they said. It was absurd. It was an absurd statement in general. I think the defense will show something and ask for reconsideration of bail. Mind blown to see that. Hit that like button. Know they had DNA first. The last person they framed was also driving around. Heather says he has no alibi. The sheep was under her body. DNA after tons of people were on scene investigating crime scene. He's guilty, innocent to proven, but be realistic. His car is on camera many times. That's a fact. They said 5 times in WSU, but there's no telling how many times, if there is cameras in that neighborhood, and they do have them, which we do know they had that Linda Lane footage that allegedly shows a vehicle that looks like an Elantra, but you can't tell, right? So it's like 50-50. 50 believe it is an Elantra and 50 don't, but it just matches up too good with the PCA I'm sorry. That Linda Lane footage matches up too good with the PCA for it to either be one doctored or two. I don't even know how it got out there or leaked in general. But that definitely 100% was from Linda Lane, that footage. Even family says guilty, but it wasn't with blood. Linda says no footprints outside is strange to me. It is strange. But is there? On sliding glass doors. That's a good point. Arlene Wiley says, Cali Thunder, how have you been? Beautiful. Missed being here. His car, Miss Potts says his car has not a trace of biological evidence from the crime scene or victims. His car has no evidence of cleanup. Let's jump into this.
2022. Prosecutors say Kohberger fatally stabbed horrifying case out of Idaho and revealing more details about what may have led up to the tragic killings. The aunt who remained anonymous spoke to the U.S. Sun and
a couple
said she
videos to dive
struggles
into.
watch the news as detectives reveal facts from the early morning hours of November 13, 2022. Prosecutors say Kohberger fatally stabbed 4 University of Idaho students, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez inside their off-campus apartment in Moscow, Idaho.
And if you're coming in, you want to chime in, you got thoughts on the subject, make sure you hit it. There's 3 minutes. You could talk 219-885-9693. Make sure you give me a call.
Examiner said based on their wounds, they were attacked in their sleep. Kohberger wasn't arrested for weeks, but investigators eventually tracked him down over the holidays to his parents' home.
Yeah, they watched him clean his car in PA and separate trash with gloves on. I mean, I've seen some people say, yeah, that's common, but it's not really common. How many households do you walk into and you see people separating their trash? Like say you stay with roommates and you guys are just separating your trash in the same kitchen. I don't know. It's just weird.
Pennsylvania, thousands of miles away from the crime scene. The case and the major arrest made national headlines, and Kohberger was extradited back to Idaho. Few details about the case have been released due to a gag order in effect that prevents attorneys, law enforcement, and others associated with the case from talking about it. Now, Kohberger's alleged aunt is speaking out, saying she was at a loss of words when she heard about what her nephew is accused of, and said she isn't ruling out that he is responsible for the tragic murders. His aunt explained to The Sun there had been a lot of drama in the family around the time of the murders, which couldn't be elaborated on for legal reasons. She says even before Kohberger's arrest, she had not spoken to his parents, but said their worlds were turned upside down. When Kohberger was younger, his aunt says he and his—
What's going on, Ghost Devil? Nice to see you, brother. I sent you that. Hopefully you got that tracking number for those candles. Sent it out today, bro.
Family would fly out to Vegas where she had been living. She said when he was younger, the eventual murder suspect was shy and humble, but also described him as a troubled teenager. She claims he suffered from depressive episodes, and while she was told he was on medication, she wasn't sure what he was prescribed by doctors. The alleged aunt also revealed she suspected Kohberger was taking drugs as a teen after falling into the wrong crowd. She claimed it was no big secret he was allegedly into the drug scene, but says she was concerned he was taking the drugs to deal with mental health issues. Kohberger's alleged aunt also disclosed to The Sun she had hoped he would clean up his act as he began to have an interest in criminology, a similar pathway for other family members who also—
talk about judge on the case. Yep.
Studied forensics. And he did. Kohberger eventually became a PhD candidate at Washington State University, a less than half an hour drive from the crime scene in Moscow, Idaho. Kohberger's aunt says she hadn't seen her nephew in more than 5 years before his arrest. Kohberger's parents and 2 sisters have reportedly shown support for the murder suspect and believe he is innocent. However, his sisters were fired from their jobs earlier this year over their relationship with the alleged killer. Kohberger's alleged aunt thinks her nephew will be found guilty when the case eventually goes to trial, although he has maintained his innocence and is reportedly confident he will be exonerated. Kohberger's trial was initially set to begin in October.
Yeah, that's that's why I gotta go organize my trash. I'll be back. Oh my God. Why now bring up mental health? I don't even think, like, honestly, it's not a thing in Idaho, so it doesn't matter how much mental health you bring up. Mental health is not going to give you the excuse for savagely killing 4 innocent people where they're supposed to feel the safest. You know? Shit, fuck. I mean, you're in college, nah, I'm sorry. This is a different type of evil right here. This is a different type of evil right here. If it is him, all I know is whoever committed this crime, they got a special place in hell with Satan. Tell you that much. This is just all right. Now let's jump into this. This is the video I wanted to watch with you guys. Boom, the trash boom. Speaking of trash, speaking of taking out garbage, let's talk about it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Crime Circus. My name's Drip Drop, and I'll be your host as always. Now let's see what we found this time.
Clearing out a crime scene to help families heal. That's what police are doing at the home where 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. Local and state police packed up the students' belongings today and will give them back to their families.
It's been over 3 weeks since Moscow police say those 4 students were killed in their sleep. Police are still looking for leads, and they're still looking for the killer. And they now say the time has come to empty the house. Esther Bauer was there, and she shows us the changing crime scene.
So as you've seen in this news clip, they were removing items from the house just 3 weeks after this crime occurred to help the victims' families heal.
We're going to talk about this video.
Well, this crime was unsolved. There were no suspects. Nobody had been arrested yet. This was an open and active crime scene.
The changing crime scene.
But to help
the change in crime scene
families heal, they were removing possessions. How fast did these families need those possessions? A single pillow without a pillowcase in a 6-bedroom house? And what do you think is in all of these boxes?
Police officers arrived early this morning to pack up the students' things, and by noon today, they finished loading the boxes onto the truck. This is not something police typically do, but Idaho State Police spokesperson Aaron Snell says in this case, it was appropriate.
How about this? This looks like one of those little treadmills that you can get for cheap on Amazon.
I
thought it was a TV at first, but I think it's a treadmill now. And what do we have here? A set of golf clubs. Does anybody out there know if any of these women were golfers?
What was up with the golf clubs? Remember there was a rumor about golf clubs, ladies and gentlemen? Remember it was some type of rumor that came out that involved a golf club? I'm pretty sure a lot of you that followed this from the beginning heard that same exact rumor. I guarantee it. Hollis says, I believe the neighbor reported him throwing his trash in his bin and not his own. So wrong in my opinion. Still no obvious motive. Not guilty in my opinion until more evidence is made public. Just Jen, what's going on? Shout out to Just Jen. Nice to see you. I haven't watched this one yet. I know a lot of you haven't. This was sent to me, but I want to watch it with you guys and talk about it. Golf clubs. I do remember hearing about the golf club. Supposedly someone got hit with a golf club. I remember the rumor, but it was never, ever, ever fact checked. Supposed to be Ethan's. Who knows? Ethan has golf club and Xana play golf as well. I heard. Well, I can find that out easily through Todd. Through Coach Todd, I can find out if Xana golfed, if those would be her golf clubs. I'm pretty sure I can find that answer out. Thank you, Delana. I appreciate that. But I could definitely find that out through Coach Todd, without a shadow of a doubt. So I used to love Drip Drop's content, but he's so sure BK isn't involved. Just weird in my opinion. Yeah, I think BK is involved, but hey, I like listening to different, seeing every different mind. I like to see all the different thoughts and aspects of this case. I know what I think. I heard he's kept his golf. I heard law enforcement has kept the golf club or the clubs for evidence. Deborah Sullivan says. Interesting. A flip-flop on his guilt from the evidence we have, Blank 66 says. I got a note, says Ethan family complained about not getting his golf clubs. Whoa. Delana says Ethan's golf clubs brought out. We saw pics of Xana and Ethan golfing. We matched pics. What's going on, Brandy Smith?
I don't know. But in the thousands of pictures I've seen of these women, I haven't seen any of them golfing. So, if you know, please share the evidence because we'd really love to hear the deets here. Let's take a zoom in on this golf bag and see what we think about it. It has a lot of storage space in it. There's a lot of pockets. There's a lot of hiding places. Do you think it's possible that the passing away weapon was hidden within this golf bag? It could have been. With these items being removed in such a short time after this crime happened, without anybody being arrested yet, and without the passing away weapon ever being found, not even till this day, it's never been found. They don't even know if a K-bar is the passing away weapon. We just know they have a K-bar sheath. A sheath without the weapon doesn't really mean much. Now, if they had found the sheath with BK's DNA at the crime scene, and then they found the K-bar in Bryan's apartment, that would be pretty sus. That wouldn't be a very good look for BK at all. It would still possibly be explainable, but as of right now, there's no passing away weapon anywhere to be found. Did it just vanish? Was he able to destroy it into 1 million pieces for it never to be located? Could it be buried somewhere? Do you think he just tossed it in the river? If it's in the river, it can be found. Specialists and dive teams find treasures in the water all the time.
Police announced today the body found inside a submerged car in a reservoir is most likely the 16-year-old who disappeared after attending a party.
A knife can't just vanish. It has to be somewhere if...
Hold up. So we were just... he's talking about Kylie Rodney. Let me say that again.
The weapon anywhere to be found. Did it just vanish? Was he able to destroy it into 1 million pieces for it never to be located? Could it be buried somewhere? Do you think he just tossed it in the river? If it's in the river, it can be found. Specialists and dive teams find treasures in the water all the time.
This dude drives me
Police
nuts.
announced today the body found inside a submerged car in a reservoir is most likely the 16-year-old who disappeared after...
So I'm insinuating that Drip Drop believes this was foul play too, which I agree with him on. I think that the Kylie Rodney case was definitely foul play involved, allegedly.
Attending a party.
A knife can't just vanish. It has to be somewhere if it is the passing away weapon. A lot of you out there believe it's actually a machete. Yeah, it could be, according to what we've heard about the wounds.
This was a brutal weapon. It sounds like it was a professional type weapon that couldn't break. And they weren't stab wounds. You know, they were like large punctures. They weren't stab wounds.
I've seriously never seen personal belongings removed from an active crime scene this fast after the crime without any suspects. This was a major happening just outside of the university.
Thoughts about that? Thoughts about stuff being removed from the crime scene? Do you think that they should have left that there? What's your thoughts on that? Because I mean, that's a good point.
City of Idaho. This really is the biggest news story in Idaho history that I've ever heard. Ever. And we're still investigating it nearly 1 year later.
I mean, we know that they were supposed to take these vehicles. Remember, it took them like a couple weeks or so to even get the vehicles off 1122 King Road. Right? Like, I remember there was a lot of different things that they didn't do at that time.
How fast the time has passed, and to think I almost never recorded my very first Idaho video. But I felt a calling. I felt an obligation. Something in the universe, some may call it the energy, drew me to this case.
Yeah, but did you hear, she also said that, what was a reporter was like, they usually don't let people do this, but they're making an exception or feel it's right. You know, only to obligate given these items. But I do feel like in an investigation like this, that a defense lawyer could make a fuss about it.
And apparently I'm a really good investigator, according to what you're telling me down in the comments. So every single episode I said, this is going to be the final one. This is it. I can't continue on. I can't.
Hold on. You said things should have been left in the house. I think he reminds me of Cat in the Hat. I mean, it depends. I agree. Moving the items were wrong. Definitely. The knife was placed in a dumpster by one of the perps. They have it on video. Never heard that. I think they have to take everything, if no evidentiary value, return to families. It was said that a lot of the stuff should have been left, and the vehicles were just sitting in an open car storage lot. How can a huge K-bar knife leave puncture wounds? Would it sadly be large slashes or gashes? It's a great question. I feel like it'd be gashes, but I mean, and slashes, really. We were both. I don't know much about the K-bar knife like that, so I don't want to, there's people that have talked about it that said it's made to rip bone and stuff like that. So when I hear people say that, I can imagine how savage a K-bar knife is, which is, you could order it on Amazon. Actually, somebody just ordered it, literally, and sent me pictures of it. The same exact one that's on Amazon. And I don't think it has a model number on it either. Let me look at it again. Hold on, I have it right here. I'm gonna look at it. I don't think there's like serial numbers on it. Let me pull that bad boy up real quick. The same exact K-bar. All it says is 1228 on it. It has like the sheath. Let me see. It has this sheath here. Only inside. What does this sheath say? So this sheath made in Mexico is what it says on the sheath. And then when you look at the pictures, it says 1228 on it. USMC K-bar. Now it says Olean NY. OLEAN and then NY. Yep, that's about it. That's what it has on it. Maybe I'll pull some of those up.
I keep doing this. I can't keep subjecting myself and my loved ones to this whole.
This box says a military issue K-bar has a serial number. Yeah, this one that was ordered off Amazon, I don't see a number on it at all. The only number I do see on it is 1228.
Horror. And now here we are, almost 30 episodes later, almost an entire year. The anniversary's coming up, and that's super serious. R.I.P. Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Hopefully, they're in a much better place right now. Anyways, how about the property owner that owned this property as an investment just gives away his $1 million property to the University of Idaho for free? And so now, of course, the university wants that house destroyed ASAP because it's bad for business. Does everything in this life really have to come back to money? What kind of investor just gives away their $1 million house? At that point, why even be a landlord anymore for any other houses? Why not give those other houses in the investment firm away to people in need? People that are homeless, people that could actually use a house to live in. No, they just want to demolish a perfectly fine and dandy house. Somebody out there watching this right now would probably gladly live in that house with their family because you need a roof over your heads. And if one of you moved in, maybe one of you could even let me check out the bottom floor to see if there's an access point to the tunnel. I was listening to the Thought Riot podcast recently, and they're interested in exploring the tunnel. And I would explore the tunnel too. Maybe a team of us needs to explore the tunnel and see what's really going on down there. And spoiler alert, in my next episode, I have found another access point to the tunnel. And this one's undeniable. The other ones were questionable. This one is serious. Yeah, that's next time though. This time, let's check out this trash can. Look at this. Right here.
Okay, let's check it out.
Let's zoom in if you can't see it. This trash can remained full of trash, inside and outside of it, for weeks after the crime. Apparently, nobody considered that there might be some seriously important evidence inside of that trash can. Maybe some important receipts. Maybe something with DNA on it. Maybe even the passing away weapon was hidden inside of the garbage can, inside of a fast food container.
Well, I get the logic. I definitely get the logic where Drip Drop's going with why not take this trash that's sitting out here as evidence. I really do understand that logic, and the reason why, I'm gonna tell you why I understand it. Because that's how they caught the DC Mansion murderer. They caught him from a Domino's crust. They got his DNA off a Domino's crust, and they captured this guy. Now, the DC Mansion murders, maybe some of you heard of it. Maybe some of you haven't. I think it was back in 2013. They had, he went in, he had the maid, and I forget who else. There were some people with him, but he won't talk. But he went in and held them captive, and then ended up killing the maid, the young man, and the mom, and then, like I said, the child, and burnt the house down, which was, or tried to burn the house down. Do you guys remember that? You said they might have taken it. Yeah, that's important. Gilgo was pizza also? Really? Gilgo was pizza? I must have missed that one. If you're thinking like a killer, that would make sense. That trash did sit a long time. Ladder's still there, I think. Nobody knows if it went through, really. I'm telling you, that DC Mansion murder, that's exactly how they caught that dude in the coat that was supposedly Maddie outside the house by the fire hydrant. They went through all of Alec Murdaugh's garbage. It was all laid out on the barn floor, sifted by detectives. Like I said, I understand that point just from the DC Mansion murders, because they did catch that guy. They caught that guy from having the victims order Domino's during a home invasion, and literally ate some of this Domino's and left his crust in this box. Killed the little precious 8 to 10-year-old boy, the maid, the husband, and the wife. And he used to be an employee for the guy. He used to work for the guy. This was, like I said, Washington, D.C. Look it up.
Crazy. Yeah, that is a possibility. Let's check out this other image. You can see these various humans here investigating the window. Why would they be investigating this window when the back sliding glass door was apparently left open? If the perpetrator apparently came in and out of the sliding glass door, what's so special about this window where you can't even see anything inside of that window? And look to their lower left, there's that trash can again with the trash. The clues they were all searching for seem to be right in front of them.
Speaking of that, is that a Domino's pizza box right there?
But as they say, the best place to hide something is right in the open. Yeah. Here's another image. And here's another image. As you can see, the theme that we're seeing here, the trash. Check out this image. The trash can is actually knocked over, and you can see the trash, aka the evidence, just chilling there. Nobody bothering to pick it up.
Yeah, very heartbreaking.
Nothing could be important inside of it. I personally think there could be something super important inside of it. What we're seeing here truly is a red alert, which leads us to Pennsylvania. What in the world were they doing all the way out in Pennsylvania digging through Bryan's trash and Bryan's neighbor's trash if they didn't even look through the trash at the crime scene?
Right.
That's sus to us. It really is. If they like to dig through trash so much, how come nobody searched through this trash at 1122 King Road? We need to know, and we need to know now. So, in my opinion, that's a boom. Yeah, the trash is a boom.
Do we think the trash is a boom? Or do we think it's just a mistake? We calling it a mistake? I mean, it's definitely a good point. I'll give them that. The trash being there and looking at that trash multiple times in a couple different pictures. Yeah, I feel like he's right. They should have took it. They definitely should have took that trash. He has a great point there. I'll give him that.
You don't think it is? Comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Why would the trash in Pennsylvania be important, but at the crime scene it's not? Was this quad passing away in small-town Moscow, Idaho properly investigated?
Damn.
I don't know. If it was, then what's with all these red flags that I'm finding? Now let's take a moment to look at this clip of more belongings being removed from the house to help the families heal.
Clearing out a crime scene to help families heal. I think it will help with a little bit of the healing.
Kind Heart says, I don't think it was missed. I am sure they took the trash.
We see a bag of shoes.
You see Vans in there.
Okay.
Is he going to point out those Vans? It looked like them kind of.
No big deal. Maybe somebody needed their shoes. Upon closer inspection, as we zoom, we can see some very specific shoes in this bag. Vans. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are Vans shoes in the bag that's being removed from the house. And this is not an evidence bag. This is a being returned to the family's bag. And I think it's safe to say that those shoes were not processed. Those shoes were not brought to the Idaho State Crime Lab, or they would have been at the State Crime Lab, and we would have never seen them leaving the house being put into the back of a U-Haul, as if it's moving day. Keep in mind, a blatant BLOODY footprint was found just outside of Dylan's door, and in the PCA, they're basically telling us that was the perpetrator's shoe print. That's why they included the information in the PCA, is to make Dylan's story seem believable that she saw the path of the intruder exiting the home. Let's check out some of these pictures I found. This right here, this is Bethany. She owns Vans. Here's a picture of Dylan. She owns Vans. Here's some other miscellaneous pictures I've found of their surviving roommates.
I got you, Jordan.
They really like their Vans. They have Vans in different styles. And what makes the Vans so important? The police are the ones that specifically mention the name brand Vans in the PCA. We have no evidence to believe that Bryan Kohberger ever owned Vans. In his apartment in Pullman, Washington, they found Nikes. At his parents' house in Pennsylvania, they found New Balance. So Bryan Kohberger likes New Balance and Nike.
What's going on?
No evidence of any Vans. Nope. Boom. I think it's super important that those shoes should have been thoroughly investigated and processed for any possible DNA or blood splatter. Yeah. Now randomly we're going to sidestep to a completely different topic to see what you think of it.
So no blood splat. I mean,
This
that was
short
talking
little
about.
video, which is an image compilation,
really
was
know.
found on Xana's TikTok. This was posted about 6 months.
Like to be honest with you, we don't know the full details on like where the victims were at, blood splatter, or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like we don't know much about that at all. We don't know much about that at all, especially like how it looked inside or anything.
Months prior to the crime happening on November 13th. Check this out.
You said they couldn't back up truck because of ice.
As you can see, those images flash by way too fast. So we're going to slow it down and we're going to take a look at 2 select photos in this photo compilation. Right here, we have Jack Showalter, the hoodie guy from the Grub Truck video. Okay, let's see what else we've come across. Who is this? Let's zoom in and take a closer look. Is that a picture of Bryan Kohberger on Xana's TikTok? We don't know because they won't tell us anything. Even Ann Taylor has just filed her 8th supplemental request for discovery. If this case is so rock solid and there's 52 terabytes of data, why doesn't the state just turn over all the evidence? If it's such a slam dunk for sure case, why doesn't the prosecutor just laugh in the defense's face and hand over everything at once and say, have fun, your client's guilty and we're gonna prove it? No, they're playing all kinds of legal games in the court system. They're not turning over what the defense is requesting. I've researched and investigated a lot of cases over the years. I've read a lot of court documents. I've never seen a single defense attorney have to file 8 supplemental discovery requests. And I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few.
I mean, He does look into a lot of cases. He said he's never seen it. I don't know. Thoughts on that, chat?
More coming. Yeah. It really makes all of us wonder.
Do you remember when we sat right here together? I think it was like 2,000 of us and watched where, who was it? Bill Thompson had stood up and said they're asking for something that don't exist. It was like he got tired of it. I know you remember that.
What do they have to hide? We don't like secrets. We want to know the truth, and we want to know it now. Anyways, moving on. Was it BK or wasn't it BK? We don't know. The picture's blurry. It's out of focus. Leave your best guess down below in the comment section, and we can speculate together. Now we're going to have a discussion on a picture that a viewer sent me. My previous video was titled Bryan Kohberger, The Secret Door.
I agree with you, Conhart. It's just not enough put out about facts to the, like as far as the crime scene or anything like that. Not much to it. We do know they got DNA. Then there's two profiles in the house, one outside on the glove. Now, I do think they need to check those, but that's another topic.
Link down below. I speculated that there was 2 different doors that had potential to be an access point to the tunnel. A viewer slid into my inbox with this picture of room 1B. That's this room right here. That would be the lower right bedroom that, as far as we know, nobody was living inside of. It was a vacant room, and that's the room that the golf clubs were within. Check this out. Let's zoom into the blur.
Talk about
Let's
Adam.
see what we see here behind this bookshelf.
Was that a picture of Adam? Hold on, let me go back and look at that. Oh, Adam golfing.
Have a discussion.
Let me see that picture.
Room that, as far as we know, nobody was living inside of. It was a vacant room, and that's the room that the golf clubs were within.
So that's Adam golfing. Okay.
Check this out. Let's zoom into the blur. Let's see what we see here behind this bookshelf. I've seen in a lot of movies, that's exactly where you like to hide a hidden door, is either within a bookshelf or behind a bookshelf. Now look at the big seam here. It looks like a big gap. The type of gap that you'd see on a door. Is this a doorknob? We don't know. There's only one way to find out, but I don't recommend anybody do it. That house is boarded up and it's going to be demolished as soon as they can possibly do it. What do they have to hide?
They need to put off.
We don't know. We really don't. In fact, this is the first time I've seen this picture, and I've been investigating this case for an entire year. I've looked on other real estate websites. I've consulted my original images that I downloaded when this crime.
My best point made it for me in this whole entire video so far was the trash, talking about that trash that was there. Now, it did look like some disappeared. Like maybe they took some of it, or I don't know, but that was a good statement for sure. Good point.
Crime happened. I can't find a trace of this image anywhere from this angle. The origins of this picture, I don't know. But the floors and everything else do seem to match the authentic photos that we do have for the rest of the house. So this picture seemingly looks authentic to me. It's just super low resolution and has seemingly been wiped from all of the internet because I can't find a single trace of it.
Whoa.
I certainly hope it's not a fake photo. If any of you out there have a higher resolution picture of this, I'd love to have it. Please email me, link down below. I do receive a lot of tips in this case. My inbox is always filled to the max. I can't always get back to everybody. Thank you for understanding. And I don't think I said it, but
yeah, I know exactly how you feel, Drip Drop.
This photo is authentic, like I think it is, and that is a doorknob in the wall. That would lead right back to this hill. The mysterious mound behind the house.
He goes double for the Ted.
Right where I speculated that there may be a secret basement. And don't act like basements are so rare or uncommon or unheard of. Lots of houses have basements. I think basements are probably more common than uncommon. But either way, if it's all authentic and this is legit, I'm going to say that this picture with the doorknob is a boom. And that's not even the access point that I found that is on a different house that I'm going to show you in my next episode if I'm able to. A lot of this stuff is really starting to take its toll on me. It's really starting to scare me. Like, how about the Delphi, Indiana case?
Yeah.
That case is intensifying. It's getting super serious. Apparently, somebody formerly with the defense team just deleted themselves from life forever. Super sus timing. My spidey senses went up immediately and thought maybe he didn't do it to himself, because I know that
a lot of this stuff that Drip Drop is talking about, I've been emailed by a lot of you a long time ago. Just a lot of different stuff besides the trash being out there. I don't think I've came across the email where people were talking about, why is this trash here? I haven't seen that one. I'll give him that.
Bad people in this world oftentimes make it look like you did it to yourself, even if you didn't. There's been a lot of strange, mysterious passing aways over the very recent years, and they never seem to be properly investigated. They're always just ruled the S word. Yeah. Was this the cult trying to send a message to the defense team to back off? Stop the investigation. Your client's guilty. Leave us alone. I think there's a good chance of it, because a lot of these cult members are former military. They are trained KILLERs. Thank you so much for serving. However, a lot of them can be super dangerous, and they do join these cults. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are on YouTube bragging about their military affiliations. Some people that are specifically named within the Delphi court documents. And a reminder, it's not just the defense making up these claims. The original investigators on this case honed in on exactly who allegedly committed this crime. The higher-ups told them, no, stop the investigation. Do not investigate the Odins. I wonder why
that whole cult of Odin video
wanted the investigation to steer clear of the Odins. It really kind of makes you wonder, who's in this Odin cult anyways? How high up the chain of command does it really go?
What's up with this Odin cult shit that I'm hearing? Does anybody know anything about that?
I've been told it goes up really high. But this case is really starting to scare me, and I may not be able to properly investigate it because I don't really want to be passed away just yet. I don't really fear it, but there's still a lot of good things that I want to do and accomplish on this planet before that happens. So hopefully it happens a little later.
Agreed. And this kind of where I am. It's where I am, Cricket. You hit it here. You said the clown is allowed to have his own opinion. Rather, we agree or disagree. If you don't, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to agree to disagree. I think it's a mixed bag for me. I get it. I'm the same exact way. I'll watch anything that I see that comes out on this case in general, whether I believe it or not. I like to keep an open mind and watch and see what comes out. Also like seeing the documents.
Later instead of sooner, but you never really know in this life. So I'm just going to make the best of each and every single day. A lot of you continue to send me good prayers and good energy, and I super do appreciate that. I really do. Some people get confused watching this show. They're not sure what to think of me or my appearance. But never judge a book by its cover. I have good intentions. I'm in the pursuit of truth, and I really do care about the victims. And 99.9% of my viewers know that, respect that, and appreciate that, and support me to the fullest. Whether you're a member, a Patreon, or just a good-hearted, good person that leaves friendly, nice comments. And I have a lot of nice silent viewers, too, that I've never even heard from.
To be honest with you, with Drip Drop, no excuses made for him. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Drip Drop constantly works on content, videos, and he also is looking at different cases and a bunch of different, I don't know. He looks at a bunch of different cases. I've seen film on there where he's seeing interrogations and breaking them down, etc. He does a lot of stuff. So I'm sure he's getting tons of emails, because I've gotten tons of emails from you guys. We go live more. You know what I mean? I don't think Drip Drop goes live. He more drops content videos. But in general. I've gotten a lot of the emails and stuff about shit that he has put out, but I just look over like, what is this? Like a cult? I don't know. I feel like it starts unraveling there for me. And it's hard to just get on there and I got an email about this cult of Odin from this email here, but I don't have anything to back it up with.
So shout out to you too. Now, moving right along and
Like,
totally off topic, but what do you think I should be for Halloween? Robin from Batman, the Hamburglar, or Zorro?
That's just my personal opinion on it. Anyways, I just wanted to check out that video. I didn't see it. Crazy. You said Into the Cops failed on so many levels. The Odin Brotherhood is the name of a group that practices the modern pagan religion of heathenry. What? Unsure if this is the same. I don't know. I Googled. It's some type of cult. I watch him, says Christina. Rook says the beautiful thing is everyone is entitled to his or her opinion, free of any disrespect. Absolutely. Queen of Hearts says that connection between Steve Gonsalves and a connection not by choice is true. What's going on, baby? Let me see what else we got. Hold on. Cat, he's a cat in the hat. If I'm not mistaken, Drip actually goes to prisons for people that are innocent but incarcerated. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that. Maybe there is, and I just haven't seen it. It's old content. Lori Vallow was an extremist. Aaron says he should be a Japanese anime girl for Halloween. While Drip Drop tries to keep it real, I think doesn't seem like he's grifting or anything. Yes, oddness are a part of pagans. As a kid, I was told to stay away from them and to watch my surroundings at all times. I think Drip Drop did a video about Odin. Who was that just tried that? Okay, just making sure. Caught alive. What's going on, Constance? Welcome. So let's jump into the next, because we just talked about this, right? I want to talk about this because this is big, in my opinion. I've been following this closely. What's going on, Tree Baby Tennessee? Hello, T-REV in chat. Tree Baby Tennessee in the building. Nice to see you. They have something to do with Hex Coin thing, and Steve Gonsalves was wearing a Hex hat in the video. He looked into Steve Gonsalves' family brother. No hazmat clothes or shoe covers. And you must be talking about this specific video, right? Let me see if I got it right here. I know I have it on this computer. It's on here somewhere. You got the Banfield noise. Okay, there we go. Good to see you. Much prayers. Drip goes where others are afraid to. You mean like topic wise, Jenny? Is that what you mean? Like topic? Everything you hear on this channel is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. Absolutely. If you haven't heard it from law enforcement, it is not true.
4 o'clock as Richard Allen's lawyers step down, removing themselves from the Delphi murders case.
That announcement came out in just the last 2 hours as cameras were rolling in the courtroom. So let's get right out to Bob Siegel. He's been at the Allen County Courthouse all day. Bob, fill us in.
Felicia and Dustin.
I know this came out days ago. Well, duh. I didn't get on here and talk about it though. So they just absolutely got up and left.
Just stunning developments here in Allen County. The entire trial
This is crazy.
of the Delphi murders case right now is essentially on hold because, as you mentioned, the defendant's attorneys have both stepped down from this case. The most telling moment that happened in today's short hearing happened before the hearing even started. What I can share with you is that the defense attorney, Brad Rosie, he walked into the courtroom. He approached Richard Allen's wife and mother in the gallery, whispered something to them, and then they all left the courtroom together. We would not see them again for the rest of the afternoon. Moments later, We understood what that was foreshadowing. The judge started the hearing and she made a surprise announcement.
Is that because the stuff that got leaked or what?
We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen. Mr. Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw.
That's crazy.
I granted that oral motion to withdraw, and Mr. Rosie will be submitting a written motion to withdraw, I'm assuming within the next couple of days.
So again, now that both of the attorneys have stepped down in the case, what comes next? Well, new counsel is going to have to be appointed. The judge said that that will happen because Richard Allen's status, he is still considered indigent. All the evidence that was shared with the defense team, that is going to have to be returned to the state. There is a hearing coming up on October 31st to set a new trial date. Whether the trial is going to be delayed a matter of weeks or months is yet to be seen, but this will likely be a significant delay in the trial for Richard Allen. And for the time being, certainly the January 8th trial date, the trial that was set to begin early next year, that date is now going to be off the books. So I can tell you in the courtroom, state police superintendent, investigators were in the courtroom. As soon as this was announced, the state superintendent of police looked at me, gave a big sigh. This throws the entire proceedings right now really up in the air as far as what's going to happen next. So why did all of this happen? Well, Emily Longnecker is going to be coming up at 4:30. She's going to explain some documents that were filed in court this morning.
Looks like it to me.
That really help us to understand why the defense attorneys stepped down and why the judge in this case made this dramatic announcement. Dustin, Felicia?
Yeah, those documents certainly provide some potential insight into that. You mentioned Richard Allen's mom and his wife inside the courtroom. Bob, what about Richard Allen? Was he in the courtroom at all?
Hold up, you said they withdrew because if they hadn't, they would have lost their license to practice law. They broke the rules of ethics. Was it from the leaks or what? Is that what it was from? I mean, there was just a document that dropped. I think it was like 143 pages or 148.
Richard Allen was here in the courthouse today. In fact, his wife got to go back into chambers.
That's what I'm thinking, Hollis.
Courtroom to visit with him before the hearing took place, but we never saw Richard Allen. The judge, since his attorneys had stepped down, essentially, she saw no point to bring Richard Allen into the courtroom. She ordered him to be returned to the Westville Correctional Facility. So we did not get to see Richard Allen at all today. We did see the families of the victims. Abby and Libby's families were in the courtroom. They left today without any comment. Of course, there's still a gag order in this case. So the families and all the attorneys and the investigators, they're really not allowed to say anything at this point to the media at all.
All right, Bob Siegel reporting live from Allen County outside the courthouse. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We will check in a little bit later.
How could you even I don't know. I guess you can't control people, right? You can't control people. You can control yourself, but you can't control other people, period. So that's kind of crazy how that leaked out. Strong initiative. No joke. I don't know. That's kind of insane. That's kind of insane to me. I'm catching up on a lot of stuff. I've missed out on a lot of stuff too. So this week we got Kohberger's court date, and hopefully we hear more about Jennifer. Hopefully we hear more about Jennifer Mendez. Hopefully those remains weren't hers. But like I was telling you guys earlier that came in the stream that's been following the Jennifer Mendez case, I was told by a friend on Twitter who follows the family members very closely that it looks like they're grieving. So hopefully not, but it's taking a while. Oh yeah, this too. We need to talk about this too. Who am I kidding?
A vehicle potentially connected to 4 escaped Georgia inmates has been found just miles away.
If you're still in Georgia, remember that there's 4 escaped inmates, 1 wanted for murder. Remember that. If you're still in Georgia, They're still out there.
From the jail. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office says this blue Dodge Challenger was found in the parking lot of a Biomat USA in Macon on Friday. The parking lot is about 2 miles away from the jail. The inmates escaped through a damaged second-floor window and a cut fence. One of the prisoners is accused of murder. Officials say the car was seen on video in the parking lot near the damaged fence.
Okay, so there's some breaking news coming in on this case. It says that man shot on Vineville Avenue, Bibb Sheriff's Office investigating connection to 4 escaped inmates they believe is connected. So Bibb County Sheriff's says a man shot himself as officers tried to talk to him about the 4 men who escaped from the Bibb County jail a week ago. Bibb deputies on Monday responded to a tip at an apartment building in the 2000 block of Vineville Avenue, according to Sheriff David Davis. Now, as officers entered the building, Davis says a man fired shots at U.S. Marshals, then shot himself. The man is wounded and being treated at a Macon hospital. So the man's name has not been released yet. I would probably, I'm speculating, but I would think that would be the driver, right? Because the vehicle came and picked these people up. They picked these escaped inmates up. So I'm thinking that would have to be the driver that they grabbed. Or shot at them or whatever. Why would you just shoot it? Like if somebody's coming to your apartment, why would you just shoot at the U.S. Marshals? Right? So it says the sheriff said, let me make that clear. He is not one of our escapees, but he is a person that we feel has knowledge of where they might be. That has knowledge of the escapees and who has some connection to at least 1 or 2 of the people we're looking for. Around 7 a.m. Monday, the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force tried to enter the apartment at the Pines on Vineville at 2020 Vineville Avenue. Davis says the first gunshot was through the door from the inside of the apartment at Marshals. They stepped back and then called SWAT team. Davis said the officers did not fire any shots. Another person inside the apartment then opened the apartment door and led law enforcement to the person who was injured, Davis said. Interesting. So I wonder if they're going to get anything from that. That's an update just on those escaped inmates. I've been watching that too. What's going on, Lady P? Nice to see you. So that's interesting to see if that leads back to anything. I'm glad to see there's some type of update. I want to see the body cam footage. Are you talking about what just happened with that or what? What body cam footage? Which one? I got you, Donnie.
Bing bang.
Let's jump into this one. I want to watch this too.
It was an unseasonably warm February day in 2017 in the small rural town of Delphi, Indiana. It's not
also like, what cases are you guys following right now? Put in the chat. 625 people in here. What cases are you guys following the most right now? For me, I've been following the Jennifer Mendez, of course, Idaho 4, multiple different cases, but mainly keeping an eye on what's going on, obviously, in Idaho 4, but Jennifer Mendez, I'm very interested in the outcome of that and these 4 escapees, especially the one, being a murderer out there. And then to find out there was a shootout this morning and somebody shot themselves. Sounds like that may be the person who aided these prison escapees.
place where you worry when your teenage kids decide to go on an adventure. So when Abby Williams and her best friend Libby German decided to go on a hike near the Monon High Bridge in the middle of the day, no one...
So we're checking out the video right now. Delphi murder suspect defense bombshell moments before hearing.
...thought it was dangerous. But when Libby and Abby did not show up when they were supposed to get picked up, their families began to worry. And they began to search. Then the next day, the worst news...
Do I think that they will put the parents on the stand in the Idaho case? That is a great question. I don't know. I'm gonna say I don't know. In case they're called up there, I don't know. It just maybe. Who knows? I don't know though. I don't know. I could only imagine them having to go up there and sit around and look. Yeah, that's rough.
News
You do the following Delphi?
The bodies of these two girls were found, both victims of murder. As the investigation progressed over 5 years, there were sketches of the suspect that looked like two different people. And there was video of the killer. Then, finally, an arrest of the accused murderer, Richard Allen. Now, Allen says he didn't do it, and he also alleges it was a group of Odinites who were actually responsible, white nationalists practicing an ancient Nordic religion. Today, a major development in the case as court TV cameras rolled inside the courtroom. Richard Allen was there, but without his attorneys. Tonight, we are live from the courthouse with this major shakeup in the case as we continue our investigation of the Delphi murders.
Miss Potts, FOIA. FOIA.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Let's start here. Abby and Libby, they were two great kids. Two great kids who were doing what kids do, right? You're good friends. You've got a day off from school. It's a little warmer than it's supposed to be. Hey, let's go for a hike. Let's go for a hike. Isn't that what we want our kids to do these days? Put your phones down, go outside, get some fresh air, for goodness sake. And that's what they did.
Yeah, Judy T, that's a very good point. I'm glad you said that too. And I'm still, we're talking about Delphi right now, but at the same time, that's a great point. BK's father will be called to the stand, I think. Yeah, that cross trip, you go on a cross country trip. I don't know. Will he? I would think so. I'm actually with you on that. I think that BK's dad will be called to the stand, maybe to attest to some things that they talked about in the vehicle. You never know. You never know. Good point. I'm actually with you on that too.
That's what and you should be able to do that. Children should be able to go outside and go for a walk. And you shouldn't have to worry about it. But now we all do. They're in Delphi, Indiana. I mean, this is a very small town. This is a safe small town. Why would this happen there? Why would you even think for a second, that there'd be trouble there? You know, it's a nice day. There's probably, some people out. We know that there were other witnesses who were there, so they weren't the only ones there. Obviously, the killer was there as well, but there were other people who were out and about that day. And this crime scene, so very disturbing. What happened to these girls and what they went through, and then what the final scene looked like. Now, that crime scene will be significant in this case, we think, based upon what we've seen alleged by Richard Allen through his attorneys, that this was, from their perspective, some ritualistic killing, and obviously for prosecutors, it's a double murder. It's not a ritual. It has nothing to do with a cult or religion or anything like that. But what the scene looked like and how these two children appeared where they were murdered is some of the most important evidence in this case. There's photos of that crime scene, as there are any crime scene, right? The investigators get there, they look for the evidence, they mark spots, they photograph everything. Sometimes they'll video record everything as well to preserve it for when and if they find out who's responsible and have to try the case inside of a courtroom. And you try to figure things out. You're examining the evidence, you're collecting the evidence while you're there, but you're also memorializing what the scene was like when investigators first arrived. So it's important evidence, but like I said, it's a very disturbing crime scene. So in this case, there's a gag order, no one's talking, but also evidence. And a lot of the motions and papers that have been filed are all under seal for various reasons. One, the judge is attempting to preserve anyone being exposed to the evidence.
This is terrible. The photos leak. Can this hurt the case? I think it already has. Just the attorneys already going all. I don't know. Sounds like it can to me.
Beforehand, because they're all prospective jurors, and we see that in a lot of cases in different jurisdictions. Some jurisdictions you see and hear everything before the trial. but also to protect these girls and their families. So the crime scene pictures were sealed.
Fact.
Obviously, the attorneys have access to it, but that was it. The attorneys and their experts. Those pictures were leaked. And we've covered that on this show. We spoke to some podcasters from Murder Sheet who will be back on tonight, who unsolicited received copies of these pictures. They deleted them. But that was a violation of the court's order, and
that's
something
crazy.
that I think really struck a nerve with folks in this small town in Indiana, and the judge and everyone else associated with this story. It struck a nerve. So there was a hearing that was called today, and for the first time in my history at Court TV, our cameras inside a courtroom in Indiana. Let's take a look.
We are on the record in State of Indiana versus Richard Allen, 08C01-2210-MR1. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. McClellan, Mr. Luttrell, for your patience. We've had an unexpected turn of events, ladies and gentlemen.
We just seen a little small clip about that.
Earlier this afternoon, the defense attorneys have withdrawn their representation of Mr. Allen. Mr. Baldwin made an oral motion to withdraw. I granted that oral motion to withdraw, and Mr. Rosie will be submitting a written motion to withdraw, I'm assuming within the next couple of days. They have confirmed with the court that Mr. Allen's financial situation remains static, meaning he is continuing to be entitled to appointed counsel. I will reach out to public defenders to make that appointment. As Mr. Allen is now without counsel, I've ordered him transported back to the Department of Correction. Mr. McClellan, I know that we have already scheduled a hearing in the Carroll Circuit Court October 31st at 9 a.m. I'd like to maintain that hearing if we can, please. I think at that point, we can have counsel appointed. I'd like to set a new trial date. Obviously, I don't believe counsel will be prepared within the next couple of months to try a case of this magnitude in January. So we'll set dates for the trial. I think we need to set a date as well for the suppression hearing that was filed now by former counsel. I have asked the attorneys to provide all of the discovery previously provided back to the state of Indiana. I know I entered a protective order on the discovery, and honestly, I don't remember when that was. I think it was in April of this year, perhaps, maybe sooner. But the attorneys have been ordered to provide all of that discovery back to the state. And if you would maintain that until such time as it can be turned over to successor counsel, I would appreciate that, Mr. McClellan.
Actually, Miss Tandy, I was actually looking at that the day it came out. It was sent to me by, I want to say, Magnolia sent it to me. I don't know if you guys know who Magnolia is. It's a mod for JLR. I got it from Magnolia, and I started to look through it, and she brought up some great points about it also. And I was like, I jumped to the part that she was talking. I was like, whoa, just the stuff that I seen in that and what you're talking about is absolutely insane in that PDF file. It's crazy. Just the stuff that is talked about in there.
I've also asked the defense attorneys to cooperate with successor counsel. They're not required to do that, but I think that they will in the best interest of Mr. Allen. They're not required.
In the hospital bed, what? Marlena, shout out to Marlena. Hey, T-REV, glad to catch you live. Checking in from my hospital bed in San Diego. Love y'all. Thank you. I hope everything is okay, and prayers to you, Marlena.
Required to provide any of their work product, but they will be required and have indicated that they will cooperate with successor counsel. So obviously, without counsel, Mr. Allen's hearing cannot proceed. I apologize that I know many of you have been waiting for several hours. I know, Mr. McClellan, you and your staff, and you had some witnesses here They came earlier to have the hearing, but clearly this is outside of our control. So is there anything, Mr. McClellan, that you'd like to state for the record?
No, Your Honor, I think we can address the other issues at the October 31st court date.
All right. With that being said, then, we are in recess. Thank you. I'll see you in October.
All right. Wow. Wow. This trial was scheduled for January. It was ramping up. We were getting ready to go.
You said Brent moved to Idaho from PA with BK. All I know is I've heard some rumors out there about the whole Brent thing. I talked to people connected with Brent directly that are in a couple documentaries, etc. I won't even say who, but I was able to confirm that 100% that case is closed. The whole Brent Kopecky. By the way, that whole entire case is closed. I found that out, what was it, yesterday, the day before, that it's 100%. It was shut down like a month ago. So I hear some other rumors about it out there, like, oh, there may be an arrest on an officer. From what I gathered, I heard that it is completely already shut. The Brent Kopecky standoff with police.
And the families who've been waiting so long for justice were getting ready to go. And I'm sure Richard Allen, who believes and says he's innocent, was getting ready to go. I don't think it's going to happen. Let's go straight out to Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson joining us live from the courthouse, the beautiful courthouse, beautiful courtroom in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Matt, great to see you tonight. Let me ask you the question that's on everyone's mind tonight. This withdrawal of the defense team, did it have anything to do, with the leaked crime scene photos?
Hey, Vinny, always great to see you. And you know what? That is what's on everybody's mind. Here at the Allen County Courthouse behind me, they didn't say as much today. The judge didn't. Everybody else.
Said, what now? Let me catch up on some. I see y'all got some responses here. Miss Tandy, the guy that got K-led same day as Idaho 4 by SWAT. Hollis said, and who started that crap? Conspiracy channels. Marlena, how the staff and treatment I was in recently and couldn't get much help. So short of help. Well, damn, I didn't know. OCD, I hope you're okay. I don't know what you went in for, but prayers to you too. Prayers to you too. Thank you for joining us. What's going on, Sherry? Welcome. FTA for the algorithm. If you're just coming in, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Also, again, Thursday, Thursday, Bryan Kohberger court date. We have that. I will be live here probably for hours. Maybe a 6 to 8 hour stream that day, guaranteed. It's how long usually it should. I want to be on a court date, so hopefully we make that last long. They still have the vehicles, Ethan's and golf clubs. Hold on, let me go down more. Try to follow him. Remember, this is the first I'm hearing of the leaked photos. Are you serious about that? With the Delphi, it's the first you're hearing about leaked photos from the defense team? That's wild. Thank you all. So I said, don't take a fresh breath of air for granted, y'all. That's all I'm going to say. Been here over a week. Finally leaving today, but with oxygen. But hey, I'm alive, y'all. Shout out to you, Marlena. Prayers go out to you. Prayers go out to you. You've been here for a while. You've been here since I started my true crime journey. So prayers to Marlena. Shout out to Marlena. Show love and chat to her.
Else is under gag order, right? But you can kind of connect the dots here because this comes on the heels of those leaked crime scene photos, and then this unplanned hearing was scheduled. All parties required to be here within days, and then this happened today. But before the defense for Richard Allen recused himself or withdrew, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin hired an attorney himself who filed a motion talking about possible disqualification or sanctions, talking about what happened in his office, right? They write this, quote, Attorney Baldwin did nothing wrong. He was snookered and abused.
I know we're cross talking about different cases in chat, but sometimes I see stuff that I want to talk about, like what Chris was saying here. Kohberger and Kopecky have absolutely no connection, and we have had Brent's best friend on here, And he's got into deep detail. And if you want to check out that interview, go look at the interview with Darren Duncan, which is actually a live stream. Darren Duncan even told us on this live stream that it was weird. His phone was factory reset, sat on the kitchen counter, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, like he's came on here and spoke about the story in general and and fought for his friend. It's heartbreaking. He told me over and over it's heartbreaking to hear his friend be accused of being involved in this crime when he don't even know who a damn Kohlberger is.
This issue before the court is a horrible tragedy created by persons not related to the defense of Mr. Allen. There were 3 disseminators, one of which committed suicide after a law enforcement investigation began. Goes on to say this: Mr. Baldwin trusted a friend to respect his office space. He was betrayed. Since that transgression, Mr. Baldwin has kept all Delphi-related items locked in a room or a locked fireproof file cabinet. Now, this motion was filed, you would think, to argue that he wanted to stay on the case, that he remedied the problem. This all taking place, we think, earlier today, which could have been the reason why this hearing was delayed in the first place, because that was set to happen at 2 o'clock. We had the prosecutors there. We had potential witnesses. We had family drive up from Delphi. Everybody was in place, but there was this huge delay, and we never actually did see the defense attorneys or Mr. Allen there in court today. So that's probably what was being discussed, their resignation, before the judge walked in.
And I mean, from what we've seen from these defense attorneys, they were all in on this defense. I mean, they were passionate, and it seems that they truly believe that Richard Allen is 100% innocent in all of this, and we're fully invested in trying this case.
Absolutely. They were all in. Remember, they were under gag order right away, but they were fighting vigorously to defend their client that they said early on was innocent of all of these charges. And then it was that flurry of motions, Vinny, that you've gone in depth in, allegations of odinism, that this is a cover-up, that there were other people involved, that it wasn't investigated properly. And then they were calling for the Franks hearing because they were saying his rights were violated, that the law enforcement lied to get the search warrant into the home. So that means the gun and everything else that was confiscated should be thrown out of evidence. I mean, they really fought hard for their client.
Okay, so our camera's in the courtroom in Indiana for the first time, and I think that's a great move. And this is a great example of why. Because in a case like this where there's allegations of conspiracies and defense attorneys disappear, if you don't have cameras in the courtroom to show the world why this is happening and what's on the record, then people are going to wonder what's really going on.
I thought that was beforehand, though. We were on that like white on rice. He can't control the chat. Speculating, but see you later. Nobody see coincidences with Xana mom picked up on old bogus one and started to speak out. Yeah, I remember all of that.
With that said, who was in court today?
Well, you know, we lined up for hours. So you had podcasters and YouTubers, and you had journalists from all across the country and all across Indiana here and waiting for several hours to get one of the 90 or so spots in the gallery today. And the first couple rows was only for family members. So you had Libby and Abby's family members, you know, represented there. They go to every hearing. They wanted to see what today was going to be about, what was going to be discussed, what could come of, you know, the discussion of those possible leaked photos. But they couldn't talk after this big bombshell today because, again, they remain under gag order. They left very disappointed. But we were able to talk to a couple trial watchers, as I call them, and here's what one woman had to say. Take a listen.
Very disappointed. However, just talking to some other attorneys and people local that have been following it very closely as well, it doesn't seem to be much of a surprise that they've recused themselves essentially from it. So
as far as the Delphi, do you think that Richard Allen is a guy, or is he's not guilty, or is he guilty? Let me actually put that up as a poll. I'm
Very
curious.
disappointed from my standpoint. However, it doesn't seem like it's that shocking to most at this point.
And Vinny, there's been a lot of questions about how Allen is looking. What was he going to look like in court? This would have been our first time, obviously, to see him in any of the proceedings. Remember, his first court appearance was kept secret. It was 1 year ago on Halloween when there was that big news conference when they said, if you're looking for answers, today is not that day. We didn't learn a whole lot then. And today we were going to try to see if he was going to be dressed in street clothing, if he was going to be dressed in the coveralls from the jail, from the prison. We were going to see his appearance. Remember, he lost a lot of weight. His attorneys were also fighting throughout the year to try to get him removed out of the prison. So we were going to look to see what he looked like, but he was never even brought into the courtroom. You know who we did see was his wife. She left the hallway from behind where the judge walks in and the doorway that he would have been brought in. She came across where the jury box is, and she was full of tears. She sat down for a moment, then she was escorted out. And then after that, there was that announcement by the judge that he no longer had representation.
It's really shocking. I mean, I don't know what his relationship was like with his attorneys, but
Stephen A says no. So you think he's not the guy? Huh.
But my guess is, I think he probably really liked those attorneys because of how hard they were fighting for him. And I'm wondering what he's thinking tonight about all of this. So let's take a look at what's next now. Like, we had a trial scheduled for January 8th, right after the new year. First big trial of 2024. Do we know what's next now and what's going to happen, how all this is going to play out?
We don't, but what...
Marlena, you've been here for a couple Delphi lives where we talked strictly Delphi. I'm pretty sure you were at those lives. Shit, remember when Richard Allen, the voice, first came out and we were comparing it to Down the Hill? Yeah, I know you were here for that.
What we do know, that trial date, you can just forget it.
What's going on, Bonnie?
That is not going to happen. And the judge said as much today. She said, I don't think that whoever is assigned to this case, to this defense, is going to get up to speed with all of the discovery that they're going to have to read into and do their own defense work. So she says that they are still planning on having that hearing on Halloween on October 31st, and that'll be in Carroll County, where most of the proceedings have been. Remember, the judge has been assigned to the case after the other judge recused themselves, and she makes the trip down there, but this was an emergency.
Don says, I always wait for a trial to determine guilt. Yeah,
Hearing of sorts, so it was held in her own jurisdiction here at this courthouse in Allen County. So there will be that hearing, and that still could be the suppression hearing, which we think could be the Franks hearing, where whoever the defense counsel is could choose to still challenge the search warrant in all of this, Vinny.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, because you got new attorneys coming in. They may see things a little differently. They may pick up.
Thank you, Hollis. Shout out to the 10 months. Hollis, damn, 10 months. Woo. Coming up on that year mark.
On things that the other side didn't pick up on, or they may disagree with some legal arguments that have been made, but we'll see how it all plays out. Wow. Big news tonight. Matt Johnson there delivering it all. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. Let's bring in our guests. Joining us tonight, Indianapolis, Indiana, hosts of the Murder Sheet podcast, Anya Kane and Kevin Greenlee. Also with us in Los Angeles, California, senior reporter for DailyMail.com, host of Daily Mail Crime on TikTok, and victim advocate for Project Cold Case, Caitlin Becker. And finally, in Chicago, Illinois, criminal defense attorney, host of the Defense Diaries, who was also in court today, Bob.
Thank you,
Mata,
Chatty.
as was Anya and Kevin as well. All right, Kevin and Anya, I'll begin with you. We had you on the show. You tracked how all this happened. You said it looks like it came from the defense. It seems like the defense conceded that in the papers that they filed. You also said, Kevin, I remember very specifically, they could get disqualified for this. And I was like, I was shocked, but you were right. Your thoughts and Anya's thoughts about what happened today.
Well, I think ultimately I wasn't surprised that at the end of the day, these attorneys were off this case, considering the gravity of what occurred. But what did surprise me, even shock me, was that they chose to go on their own. Earlier that morning, Andy Baldwin, one of the attorneys in this case, actually hired a criminal defense attorney to represent himself and to fight to stay on this case. So it's unclear to me what made him change his mind and just walk away.
Say what?
Caitlin Beck.
Who said Steve G was arrested? Nah, that's misinformation.
This case has taken so long to get to where we are now, and now for the families of the victims, they're going to have to wait longer. Richard Allen says he didn't do it. He's going to have to wait longer. This is really an unexpected twist and turn at this junction of this case that goes back to 2017.
Yeah.
Your thoughts tonight?
You know, Vinny, I have to wonder.
I mean, it was down the hill, the whole down the hill. Then they seen stuff about this Keegan Klein, and then all of a sudden, Richard Allen popped up out of nowhere, and then you see him doing that crazy, that little hop around. What was it, near the pool table? Remember, he did like some weird hopping thing. I forget. He was in a bar though. You said they caught one escapee and one's out being charged. So they caught one. I didn't see that. I'm about to look right now. Maybe that's an update. Let's check it. Let's check it right now while you're talking about it. Hold up. Authorities find. Let me see. Okay, here. Let's update it. I don't see anything about him being caught yet. I'm waiting for it though. Thank you, Gold Dust. Thank you, Trev. Good work. Love this channel. Thank you for being here, Gold Dust. He said, no, don't even start that.
What the ultimate purpose was for leaking the images. I just
Somebody set the lawyers up. Possibly something is up with this. It's all about creating reasonable doubt in the mind of the jury. That's the purpose of the Oddinism angle. Or yeah, I get what you're saying. The Oddinism angle. That whole cult angle. Lock them mother doors and get your Ring cameras installed, y'all. Most definitely. Every corner of the house.
don't know what the goal was, because it doesn't seem that it has helped anybody, any party at all, particularly not the defense. And if these images were leaked from the defense team, as you said, they said in court, and as of course you guys said, because you two got the images originally, to what end? I mean, if you're working for the defense, this seems to sort of hamstring them from properly defending their client. And now we have this major setback. I'm just so curious as to where they thought this was going to go and why they thought to do it. I mean, people leak stuff to us all of the time. They leak images that they shouldn't leak. They leak documents that they shouldn't leak. But there's usually a purpose to it. It's to get out information that wasn't previously out there. It is to sort of hold feet to the fire that, you know, aren't being held to the fire in a place of authority. But I just don't see the reason that this was done.
I just want to go back to Anya on that. Anya, any indication from your investigation as to why the person who grabbed those images and disseminated them, why they did it? Were they selling them? Was there some, like, do we know?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And it's unfortunate because in this situation, we don't really have an answer about an ultimate motive. We can say in the communications that we saw between people who are not the original leaker, but who kind of got it down the line is there seems to be some sort of sense that, you know, it's kind of a combination of morbid curiosity, but also like, we need to put out this because, you know, it could prove the defense's theory is more credible with the Odinism, and, you know, here's how the crime scene looked. So I don't think that this was coming from the defense attorneys. We've seen no evidence of that whatsoever, but I think it was a situation where you had people just put stuff out there that they shouldn't have, and then it just spirals out of control because as we all know, one person leaks to one person and then that person leaks to two, and unfortunately we've seen that where this is just kind of spread like a wildfire across the internet, and we're just dreading that these images, some of the graphic images, might come out and be published, and we're just really praying that that does not happen.
Bob Mata, let me ask you about let's start with Richard Allen, right? Every defendant has the right to their counsel of choice. Now, this is appointed counsel in this case, but my guess is with them filing all this stuff, being very aggressive, very...
Did a lot of you see the, what was it, Richard Allen, Eyewitness, sacrifice Delphi teams? There are new allegations in the Delphi murders case. Attorneys for defendant Richard Allen says the victims, Abigail Williams and were involved in were sacrificed by a cult. What? That's I mean, that's
committed to the case that maybe they are the attorneys that he wanted, but they want it out, but they don't get out unless the judge lets them out. How does all this affect the defendant and the defendant's rights?
It's huge, and actually, Kevin and Anya, we were talking about that before when we were kind of pontificating what we thought might happen in there. And what stunned me, not so much that Baldwin ended up withdrawing, because I think he was under a lot of heat. When we walked into that courtroom at about 1 o'clock and it was empty, and then I don't know if it was about 1:50, and about 8 law enforcement officers from Doug Carter to Tony Liggett walked in there, and they all sat in the jury box. At that point, you knew one of two things was going on. Either the judge was going to try to have some kind of hearing to make a preliminary finding for a Franks hearing, or that she was going to proceed in terms of a removal hearing. So they were back.
I mean, it's really 50, 34%, and then yes is 51%.
In chambers for 2 hours, and we all saw Baldwin come in, and he was back there. Rosie was back there. McClellan was back there, and they really had this out back in chambers for hours. We waited for an extra half an hour before it was supposed to start. In the meantime, I'm sitting directly behind Richard Allen's wife and mother, who are weeping. So they knew something was going on, and then people kept coming to talk to them, and Kathy was just crying the entire time. That's Richard Allen's wife. From the minute she got into that courtroom, and from the minute that Rosie pulled her out 5 minutes before the judge came in. As far as Richard's Sixth Amendment right, it's devastating. Because these guys were appointed, but they're private counsel, and you could tell by the depth of which, agree with it or not, but those memos that they put out, there was a ton of work that was put into those. That is not your typical public defender type filing, just because of lack of time, because they have a huge amount of cases to work on. These guys were fighting to the death for this guy. So I have every feeling that Richard Allen is sitting there devastated, as well as his family.
All right. We'll continue to follow this part of the story, but when we come back, we're going to literally walk you through.
You might have to start jumping on a little bit of that too, Rook. Honestly, I've been watching some videos on what was it, Funker? He said they just said that a U.S. warship was attacked by a drone in the mid. I'm going to check that out. We might have to start diving in on
Abby and Libby.
Rook.
Plus, coming up next hour. In Delphi, Indiana, Abby and Libby German were brutally murdered in 2017, 5 years after the murders. Richard Allen.
Let me see what Rook's talking about real quick. U.S. ship attacked. Pentagon press secretary. U.S. military sends aircraft carrier and attack ships to Persian Gulf. I don't see anything on it yet. On what Rook said. They just said the U.S. warship. So U.S. warship. Let me see anything. U.S. warship intercepted Yemen missiles potentially headed towards Israel.
Was arrested and charged. He says he is innocent and is pointing the finger at local Odinists. Tonight, we are live from Indiana with news of a major development in the case.
Mr. Allen's financial situation remains static,
He did not act
is
alone.
to be entitled to appointed counsel. I will reach out to public defenders to make that appointment. As Mr. Allen is now without counsel, I've ordered him transported back to the Department of Correction.
This world is falling apart.
There's a tragic outcome in this case.
Yeah, Funker posted it, if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, you could say that. I actually look at Funker a lot. I watched there's a lot of sad clips on there though with Ukraine and just different things that I didn't want to say. It was it'll trigger your PTSD definitely if you see some stuff on there. This is gonna get bad with Israel. You guys think we're about to get into some war, huh? My dad be like, end the times. They're trying like hell to get this World War III off the ground. I hope everyone refuses to get sucked into the rich men's wars.
Trial that is the focus of the Netflix documentary Take Care of Maya.
How a misdiagnosis tore their family apart.
They continue to accuse Jack and Beata of being child abusers.
Jack called me and said Beata just hung herself.
Is the hospital they're suing responsible for what happened?
The Take Care of Maya trial. Trial coverage weekday mornings at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
No, but he's been on it.
So we're at about the halfway point of the Monon High Bridge here behind me in Delphi, Indiana. You can see I'm standing on a part that is rebuilt. Looks completely different than the area that leads over to private property.
Let's get a view of that.
This area right here, that's where that Snapchat photo was taken, where Libby takes a picture of her friend Abby. The two girls, they were heading down the bridge south over to private property, and that's where the abduction happened.
Okay, let's pick it up from there and we'll show you and walk you through what happened that day, where Abby and Libby were. Well, first, let's show you where Abby and Libby were dropped off. It's February 13th, 2017, around 1:49, dropped off across from the Mears Farm, which is located on the north side of County Road 300. This is an important road. County Road 300 north, near the entrance of the trails. At 2:13, video from Libby's cell phone shows the girls encountered a man on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge, which you just saw that Matt showed you. The video shows the girls walking southeast on the bridge. Then the male orders the girls down the hill. Okay, February 14th, 2017, the girls' bodies are discovered. There is clothing found in Deer Creek south of where the bodies were located. So there you have a look at where this all is. And in part of what happens is they end up...
Is it Boigny forced to say guilty? Sorry, U.S., for your loss. What did I miss? The rich are the only ones that benefit from war. Patty No Esther. What's going on, Patty? Didn't Richard Allen allegedly confess to the murder several times to his wife and mother? On phone, correct? I heard the same exact thing to his wife, is what I heard, Boigny. To his wife. I heard he confessed on the phone. I mean, there's full reports and articles on that.
On one side of the creek, and then their bodies end up back on the original side of the creek where they were. Let's bring back in our guests tonight, Anya Kane, Kevin Greenlee, Caitlin Becker, Bob Mata. All right, Anya and Kevin, to me, looking at what happened here, they had to cross that creek, didn't they? Once they are abducted or under the control of the killer, they cross over the bridge, which takes you over the creek to one side, but then their bodies are found back over on the other side of the creek.
Yes, Vinny, that is our understanding as well, that they would have had to, traverse this creek. We went there a number of years ago. We were too scared to actually go up on top of the bridge, but we went underneath. It was a pretty shallow creek in portions, but then again, it also seems to kind of be something that maybe gets deeper at different times of year. So we'd be very curious in learning more about how exactly it looked that day. And, would there be any places to traverse it easily? And also, what does that tell us about this incident? Were the girls running? Were they trying to escape? Or was this part of the killer's plan?
Now, let's take a look. This is from the probable cause affidavit. Investigators spoke with a witness who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North. I told you it's an important part of all of this. So the witness is driving east towards the right there on February 13th. And observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North, away from the Monon High Bridge. The witness advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching video from the Hoosier Harvest store that the witness was traveling on a CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m.
Welcome, Lil B.
Caitlin Becker, this is how they're putting together.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome. Lil B rep game for life. Appreciate you, Little B.
Together their timeline, and their allegation is that he comes back up and is walking down 300 North, going back to where he had parked his car east of that Hoosier Harvester store.
That's exactly right, Vinny. And from what we understand from witnesses, the car was parked sometime in the between 1 to 2 p.m. hours, so quite a bit earlier than Abby and Libby had been dropped off at the park and gone on.
I still don't believe Richard Allen was the killer. And why did it take so many years when they had video and he came forward back then saying he was there and what he was wearing? Sus. This gonna be this is another sleeper case right here. I followed this from day one, but Richard Allen was new last year when his name came out, brand new.
Their hike, the timing seems very tight to me.
We need to see all the
last
evidence.
Communication that they have is that Snapchat video that's about 2:13 p.m. We hear the down the hill moment.
Right, like I personally feel like we need to see all the evidence that they have against him.
So from 2:13 to about 3:37, which is their timeline there, that's when we have to understand
Which
that
we know
the
about.
abduction, murder, and it seemed like movement happened. So the question is, were they killed and then moved or taken away from that area and then murdered? But either way, if Richard Allen is the person we're talking about, and of course presumed innocent until guilty, he, no matter what, would have had to come back that other direction in order to get to his car. So to even think to do that covered in mud and blood and not think that anybody would see you always felt a little bit odd, but the timeline seems pretty tight for two murders, and the bodies found significantly further away from where the abduction took place.
Bob Mata, what are your thoughts about the timeline that prosecutors have put together and laid out here in this case?
I hope you feel better, Sammy.
Well, therein lies the rub with what happened today, right? Because we had two attorneys that were challenging that, and they had a Franks motion that they were asking for a hearing, wherein they're saying that Tony Liggett, who was the affiant, the person who drafted that affidavit for the probable cause affidavit, that he was lying, and flat out the defense was saying that in terms of the bloody and muddy clothes, that they weren't bloody, so it's like we don't know at this point, like where it's going to go from here in terms of who successor counsel is part of the puzzle now, because there's allegations out there that we can't pretend that they don't exist anymore merely because Baldwin and Rosie are no longer a part of the mix. I mean, the question will become, will new counsel adopt what they've filed? I mean, they have no obligation to. If they come in, like you said earlier, Vinny, if they're like I'm not going by this. This is crazy. I mean, if they have a different interpretation of the evidence, they may want to go a completely different route. But I mean, we have to get to that juncture at this point. To me, the timeline is still in the air. It's fluid until we have some more hearings, because at this point, all we have is the state's theory of the case. And we kind of have the defense's theory of the case, or at least.
What do you have in mind, though? He confessed to his wife and she's still married to his ass. Shake my damn head, said Judy T. Regina says something smells in Delphi. It doesn't add up. This was more than one person. You said more than one person did all this, in my opinion. Well, to think about it, I mean, you had Ron Logan's property. A lot of people suspected Ron Logan, Keegan Kline, but look at the names that came up. Like I said, with Richard Allen, I was like, what? Richard Allen? Like, supposedly at CVS he printed out for, what was the grant? I can't remember exactly who. Hold on, you said we have the Ukraine-Russia war knocking on our door, but at least we are prepared for it today. Been so busy with my grandsons. Do you all know cops fired in Moscow, including a captain, for having students research it? If you don't believe me, thank you, CKI. Not to mention the two completely different sketches, two different eyewitness accounts of clothing in different vehicles. I didn't follow this case in the beginning. It happened the same day my son died. Whoa. I'm sorry to hear that, Shelly. I wasn't expecting to read that. The same day your son passed away. Prayers for you. Sorry to hear that. Good.
It's his former defense attorney's, theory of the case. So we've got to kind of wait and see.
Keegan Klein was supposed to meet with Libby that day. Who else did he tell? Miss Potts, where's the proof? More than one person, one guy with a gun can surely take over two unarmed teen girls. Nina says he was forced to confess. Cops threatened to kill his family. This is gonna be a tough case here. I could see a lot of split. I see a lot of split decisions, or not split decisions, but split theories. I see split theories on this. If you just go read the comment sections when you look up videos on this case, he had his gun also and a knife. That was enough to get them down the hill. I wonder if they were able to catch any of that.
To see how it plays out.
All right, everybody stay where you are. When we come back, another part of this case that has always puzzled me, and I think is another potential problem for prosecutors. The sketches of the suspect, and do they look like the man?
I mean, this one kind of does. The nose is a little wider, though. I'll give you that.
On the bridge, do they look like Richard Allen? We'll talk about that next.
Not fully, though. Not this one.
Detectives and investigators have recovered what's believed to be human remains at Chad Daybell's residence.
You have two children
Chad Daybell, another demon.
who have vanished, and their mother.
If somebody 2 years ago said this is what
With all new.
Danielle Rodriguez says, I personally think Richard Allen knew about Odin, wanted a job or to be involved, and this was a setup to look for an initiation for him to take the fall. Wasn't he in some financial issues? That is being reported, yes.
That's your killer. There he is. Okay, so they have
Vinny.
video of him, but as you can see,
Are you
it's not
sold,
the clearest.
Vinny?
You really don't pick up necessarily in detail the features of the face, which are so significant in identifying someone. This case, there are eyewitnesses who provided descriptions, which then turned into police sketches. Let's take a look at them. There's two of them. Sketch 1 and Sketch 2. Sketch 1 is on the left, Sketch 2 is on the right. That's how they refer to them. However, you should know this, that Sketch 1 on the left was drawn after Sketch 2 on the right. So Sketch 2 on the right was actually drawn in February of 2017. The witness description of a man on the Monon High Bridge, about 20 years old, brown curly hair, medium build, age 20, kind of boyish features. I mean, I've been saying this is the Justin Timberlake sketch, right?
A lot of people did speculate that there was a gun in that pocket even before Richard Allen was captured.
Now, let me tell you the story of Sketch 1, which actually was drawn after Sketch 2. The Unified Command, which has nothing to do with a cult. These are the name they gave to the investigative unit. Did not release the witness sketch to the public for over 2 years. Instead, they first released another witness sketch called Sketch 1. The other sketch was illustrated by the FBI sketch artist Lance from Detroit on June 19, 2017, and released to the public on July 17, 2017. Roughly 2 years later, in March 2019, the witness met with Tony Liggett, frustrated that her sketch, sketch number 2, had not been released to the public. The witness was frustrated because sketch 1, which had been released to the public almost 2 years before, did not match the man she observed on the High Bridge. The witness even commented that sketch 1 was wrong. This is from the defense memo. All right, let's bring back in our guests, Anya Kane, Kevin Greenlee, Caitlin Becker, Bob Motta. This drives me crazy because I'm a former prosecutor. I don't like this. This is like they were trying to draw reasonable doubt. It doesn't make sense. Anya and Kevin, can you make any sense of this? Is it possible that someone else from that sketch 2, which was drawn first, was on the bridge but has nothing to do with the murders?
I find that coincidence a bit hard to believe, although I guess if there's evidence pointing to that, then sure. I hate sketches. It's a artistic rendering of somebody's flawed memory. So we are with you on sketches in general. I think if you don't immediately arrest someone based on a sketch, then they're just floating out there for years. In this case, we have 2 of them. And it creates confusion amongst the public. Everyone's trying to compare things to in what is, in my view, a very flawed investigative tool. So I don't know. I just think it's a mess. And I think having 2 of them is a problem. But I think ultimately we're probably going to hear more about the sketches from the defense than the prosecution, which is going to lean on the evidence that they do have.
Yeah, Caitlin Becker, when we lined them all up there, right there, okay, I could see the sketch all the way to the left, sketch number 1, looks kind of like Richard Allen. I could see that. And I can sort of see it with the video still frame. One of these is not like the others. And
yeah, I'm not seeing this one whatsoever. This one, yeah.
To me, that's a problem, Caitlin. And that's the one that the witness says, oh, yeah, that's him. That's definitely him.
One of these is...
If you had to choose one out of these 2, it'd be this one to the left, guarantee it. But not even that one fully because the nose is wider. But then again, it's not always 100% accurate.
Definitely not like the others, but I am with you all with the idea of an artist rendering of an eyewitness. Eyewitness recollections are sort of scientifically and notoriously problematic because we don't remember things as clearly as we think we do. But we have that video. We just looked at it. Sketch by the FBI, the one with the hat. I don't remember sketch 1, sketch 2. I think that was sketch 1. The one with the hat looks like Bridge Guy, and Bridge Guy looks like Richard Allen, particularly subtracting several years from his age to sketch 1. I can definitely see that. But the issue that I have isn't necessarily were the sketches artistically rendered differently, and that is to account from that. 20 years old and curly hair are 2 completely different points. The guy on the bridge is wearing a hat. So how you could tell the curly hair and that guy's...
Oh, Queens, Queen, I'm waiting for trial on this one. Shit. Day 1, Nancy Grace, HLN, covered it all the way. She covered it all the way. I was sitting around the couch like a fiend for updates every night that Nancy Grace came on. And it was about 8 to 9 p.m. she came on East Coast time. So, I mean, she always had the most relevant information, and she had family members on there, and it was just a lot of, she was doing a lot. She was doing a lot during the case. And so this case right here is definitely one of them ones. I'm waiting for the trial for sure.
Clearly much older. So that to me is the issue. But the prosecution said from the beginning that they think more people are involved.
All right, Bob, we're out of time. Just give me a number, 0 to 10. How big of a problem is this for the prosecution, 10 being really bad?
3.
Only a 3. Okay. Thank you.
He said 3. My man said 3. Being really bad. It's nothing at all. Crazy. Car potential. That's wild. So his attorney. So I wonder who is representing him now. Who is representing him now? I said, thank you for taking a look. That's cool. You watch his stuff. Big problem. Well, you talking about Funker? Thanks for joining. I'm not acknowledged, or you said I'm not knowledgeable enough about this case to form an opinion. I get what you're saying. Livy Live, 9 months. Thank you, Livy Live. I appreciate that. Shout out to Livy Live. 9 months in the building. With you. All right, so I plan on getting, for the rest of the week, I plan on trying to get, tomorrow I'm trying to have a guest come on. I'm waiting for the answer on that. Let's see, Wednesday. What are we doing? We got Wednesday. Then we have court for Bryan Kohberger Thursday. It's a lot of stuff coming up here. A lot of stuff. We're going to see if this guy and the guy that's in the hospital for the prison escapes, the prison escapees, the 4 that escaped. Now, there is news on that. Like I read it earlier. I read the article. There was a shooting this morning today. The guy shot through the door at SWAT team. I'm talking about the 4 escapees from Georgia. If you're just coming in and you just don't know what I'm talking about in general, yeah, I'll give you a glance of what I'm speaking about. So I'm speaking about this. They had found this vehicle, but this morning it was reported that 4 inmates that they went to a place they got a tip, and as soon as they went and knocked on the door, whoever was inside shot the gun through the door at Marshall's. So they immediately had to call for backup, and then the guy shot himself inside. So I wonder if that is the guy who helped them escape or come up with this plan or pick them up in the vehicle. I don't know, but I assume it's somebody close to the case, right? I hope they get them. It's absolutely wild that they haven't got him, especially in this vehicle. But you got to think about it. This jail only had 10 staffing people, or it only had 10 staff on duty at the time of this escape. I'm pretty sure. That's what the guy said. When we watched the presser, I was like, what is this guy talking about? But he said something about 10 staff. I'm like, yeah, they need help. Hootie, the 4 prison escapees that we're talking about is, I'm going to show you right now. It's the one in Georgia, Macon, Georgia, at that. Now, there is a guy in the hospital right now suffering from a gunshot wound. I'm only assuming that he shot himself in the head because he's in the hospital right now. But he's alive, and who knows what key he holds to knowing where these prisoners are. Love the screen tee. Awesome. Shout out to Ghost Devil for the graphics. Shout out to Ghost Devil. Ghost Devil made that. So shout out to him. 10 staff for 800 inmates is absolutely insane. They need some help there. I'm sure they'll be changing that up after this, right? And you said inmates running that asylum. They definitely run that. I 100% agree with you. I bet you there's drugs floating around in there, OCD. I guarantee there's a shitload of problems in that jail. Sorry, not sorry, but I think that they were dedicated by seeing Danilo Cavalcante escape, hearing the crap on the news, and they looked around and were like, "Man, you see all these staff in here? We can do that." Bet you. They watch the news in jail. So, you know what I mean? Like they see the outside shit that's going on. They're not, they don't just not have TVs. Like in some cells, people buy TVs and put them in there. Even in county jail, you can buy a TV for like $300 and literally watch the news all day long. So that's probably where they got the idea to escape. I could be wrong, but in general, I'm just saying that there's been a lot of escapes from prisons lately. Oh my God. I mean, you have the juvenile one, you have this one, the Danilo Cavalcante, Christopher Haynes in DC. There's a bunch out there right now. If they don't drop it, you know how the ladder this goes. Sending positive vibes out to everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. Positive vibes back to you too.
Oh my God. A few moments later.
Shout out to the screen. Yeah, Ghost Devil made this. Shout out to Ghost Devil. Ghost Devil made this background. It's pretty dope. He said they claim they fixed the cell doors to prevent them from being jammed. Inmates run that jail, not the guards, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm trying to think of the schedule for this week, guys. I told myself if I'm not live 4 times a week, then I'm not doing my channel a justice. I'm doing it an injustice by not going live, because most of you know me for being live, right? And I feel like if I'm not live 4 times a week, then I'm doing myself an injustice. Thank you, Ghost Devil. You said Bob Barker had a large investment in jail items privatized. Positive vibes. A few moments later. Rook, are we blowing things up again? I have to check into that. Yes, and love the lives. It's what everybody knows me for, is going live. So when people don't see me live, they're like, why the hell is T-REV not live right now? He hasn't been live in days, man. Like, what's going on? Carlo, shout out to you, Carlo. Yes, we miss your lives. Yeah, but we need to get these lives back, though. lined up with some guests too. That's the number one thing I've been doing, is looking for some very good guests with great knowledge, and I feel like we got a few. So tomorrow, if he can do it, it's going to be great. So I'm hoping that he comes through on this interview. If he doesn't, oh well, won't be the first time. But I'm definitely networking. Does anyone else think that the fence was cut way too straight and neat to be done in a hurry? Yeah, like, are you talking about? Yeah, I seen both of them too, and it seemed like it was the same exact path, right? Your lives are like coming home, regardless sub and mod loyalties for your T-REV. Love you, Libby Live. Much love. Shit happens, T-REV. We always be here. Yeah, no, but consistency is something that is needed, right? Consistency in some sort of schedule. Like my time schedule is just one day I'll sleep till 9 a.m. Next day I'll wake up at 2 p.m. It's like, whoa. Just said today, where the hell is T-REV been? So again, we have a scheduled week. I mean, tomorrow, an interview that I'm waiting to get it. I'll have an answer by probably 9. Hopefully he responds by then. And then, like I said, Tuesday and then Wednesday, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we got something. But Thursday is Bryan Kohberger's. You got that court date, and we're definitely gonna be live for that too. Live and maybe call-ins. Call-ins, I don't mind. Call-ins all day. I love call-ins. Not the same in these YouTube streets without the T-REV boring streets. I'm trying to find out more information on this, what I was just talking about. So again, let me pull this one back up. I want to see how far this is from the jail, because the man shot, the guy that was shot is on Vineville Avenue, Bibb Sheriff's Office investigating. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office is investigating the connection to four escaped inmates. Here, let me pop this one over here for you so you can see what we're looking at. This is the update on those inmates. Play it.
Obesity is a complex chronic disease that is.
Okay, we don't want to hear about that.
Good afternoon. I'm Caitlin Heck. Thank you for joining us. We have developing news this midday in the case of 4 Bibb County Jail escapees. Bibb County deputies this morning responded to a tip at an apartment building on the 2000 block of Vineville Avenue. As officers entered the building, Sheriff David Davis says the man fired a shot at U.S. Marshals, then shot himself. He is injured and being treated at a Macon hospital. The man's name's not been released. Davis says he is not one of the 4 men who escaped from the Bibb County Jail a week ago today, but the sheriff says they're investigating whether he's connected to them.
I make that clear. He is not one of our escapees, but he is a person that we feel has knowledge of where they might be, that has knowledge of the escape, and who has some connection.
Oh, come on, Sheriff. We know he didn't. The marshals are going to his apartment. Whoever this is, I don't know who this is, but they're going to his apartment and he's shooting through the door at them. There's definitely a connection. There's no way. Okay, no, I haven't seen it. Are you following the Karen Reed case? That's so sus of them officers. Just saying, I need to check it out. I haven't even heard of it until you just mentioned it. Deborah Hanson, what's going on?
To at least 1 or 2 of the people whom we're looking for.
Freya Brar was there, and she'll have more on what happened tonight at 5 and at 6. Meanwhile, today marks 1 week since those 4 escaped inmates left the Bibb County Jail. Right now, all 4 are still on the run, and there are still plenty of questions about what happened that night and the effort to find the escapees since. After asking questions this weekend, the sheriff's office responded saying because of the sensitive information, they would not be releasing, quote, any pertinent details about their search. They say it could delay or interfere with their investigation. There is now a combined $73,000 reward for information leading to the capture of the 4 inmates. And a piece of that reward money could
Who else could it be if it's not the driver?
Be yours. The Bibb Sheriff's Office says you can call their tip lines or you can call Macon Regional Crime Stoppers. Those numbers are right there on your screen. They're also recommending you call the FBI's tip line. That number is 1-800-225-5324. Again,
which one is you're talking? What was the name of it? What was the name of it again? Karen Reed? Is that what you just said? Well, you don't have to tell me twice. I'm gonna go check it out. So Karen Reed accused slaying cop's girlfriend maintains innocence. Nightline. Karen Reed. Excuse me. Karen Reed's attorney says the murder allegations that Reed killed her Boston police officer boyfriend will not make any sense. Okay, so I see Court TV's covering it. Is it? Yeah. Karen Reed. Motions hearing. Officer killed. Murder trial 1 month ago. So this is the one you're talking about. Yes, Karen Reed. Oh, Karen Reed. Her in Mass. Wild case. Here in Mass. Looking at it right now, it looks like some wild crap here. Hold up. What do we got going on here? I don't think we could watch that one. Karen Reed's murder trial, a deep dive. I might have to check out old Karen Reed. I totally believe Karen Reed is innocent. Huh. I don't know nothing about it, so I can't say. I definitely want to check it out if you guys want to check it out. Maybe I'll put a poll up on the community tab. Because I like covering multiple cases. I love covering multiple cases. I don't know what it is. I just like, covering multiple cases at once. That and or IGG and Facebook. You stuck nose into and visited witness. And I don't know. And admittedly, witness said there's workaround that are against the law. Turtle Boy isn't on this case. Citizen journalist has won awards and was arrested recently. Let's dive in. You said let's see Tupac case. That's a long time coming. I just did a live on that not too long ago. Do a deep dive. Some things not adding up. And the characters around the case just do not get the chicken parm. I'm dead. That case is a mess. You talk about the Karen Reed case? I don't know why I think I've heard of this. Closing arguments. So what happened to Officer John O'Keefe? Let me see what they got going on. I'm looking around here. That's a part of what makes this channel different. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Maybe I missed a comment. Oh, okay. I see what Jersey said. Thank you, Jersey. The officers who covered up the original Richard Allen witness testimony are sus. A lot of people thought that, what's his name? The main dude you always see speaking was sus too. Can't remember his name off the top. I usually can, but I can't right now. It will be a great movie in the end. Karen accused of running him over while drunk. We're talking. Karen Reed was brought up by Okie Angel. Looks like evidence proves she didn't hit him. Where should I start? Where do I even start to look when it comes to Karen Reed? I mean, there's a video called Karen Reed's Murder Trial, a deep dive. I mean, if y'all want to watch that, let me know. We could definitely watch it. But you definitely got to lock in. It's 40 minutes. Looks interesting. Definitely looks interesting. You got Karen Reed case, what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. And then the one that looks another interesting one is Karen Reed's murder trial, a deep dive. Warning you, you'll be going down a rabbit hole. Oh, man. Baby says, smash the like. Accused of running him over while driving backwards in a snowstorm. Some way she did it on purpose. Some say she was drunk. Or some say she did it on purpose. And some say she was drunk. Let's get it. All right, let's check it out. Hold up. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. I don't mind giving it a look. Why not? Who doesn't like a good, interesting story? And stuff don't make sense. You like to try to put those puzzle pieces together.
Karen Reed and her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, were bar hopping on a snowy night in Massachusetts. At the end of the night, they were invited to a house party at the home of a fellow officer in Canton, Massachusetts. When Karen and John arrived, Karen did not exit the car. John did. And from that point forward, there are two very different versions of what happened. Prosecutors say Karen was mad at John and purposely struck him with her car and left him on the ground to die in the snow. But Karen and her defense team say John went to the party. Something terrible happened inside the house, and his body was placed outside where he was found dead the next morning. Karen has been charged with murder but claims she is the victim of a big cover-up by police. Meanwhile, both inside and outside the courthouse, things have been getting very tense. A local blogger who goes by the name Turtle Boy organized a protest outside the courthouse to support Karen. Tonight,
I just seen somebody talking about Turtle Boy in the comments, actually.
Speak live with Turtle Boy, then we'll bring in the attorneys for Karen Reed as we investigate the death of John O'Keefe.
Thank you, Cindy.
And the allegations.
Said per the Idaho statement, 2 women walked away from South Boise Correction Centers. 1 is still at large.
Oh my God!
What? I meant to check that out.
Of a police
Thanks for the update.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you with us. Now, Karen Reed, like every other criminal defendant, when they're charged, is presumed innocent. And it's no different in this case. But in many of the cases we cover on Court TV, right, the presumption of innocence applies, but you know, and I think sometimes in the back of my mind, yeah, they're presumed innocent, but come on. We've from the evidence that's been released already, it doesn't look really good for that defendant. This case is a little different and potentially a lot different, depending upon how the evidence plays out, because there are two very different versions of what happened that night in Canton, Massachusetts. Now, you know, we rarely hear from criminal defendants. They don't usually testify at trial, and they usually don't talk before the trial. But in this case, that's not the case. I mean, she has spoken. Karen Reed has spoken out. And even though we rarely hear from defendants, we've heard from this one.
Let's hear.
So
this will be my first time.
That makes this case a little bit different because the defense has an alternative story about what happened here. You know, many times the defense is, oh, they can't prove their case. Period, end of story. They don't have the evidence. And as we know in our system, the defense doesn't have to prove anything. They don't have to put one witness on the stand. They don't even have to come up with an alternative theory as to what happened in the case. It's up to the prosecution to prove it beyond any and all reasonable doubt. But again, here, things are different. There's an alleged police cover-up here.
Whoa.
That John O'Keefe went inside that house, which was a party with fellow officers and family members, et cetera. And the allegation is that something happened in there. And that's all being covered up now. So that is a bold move. Again, rarely do you see this play out, especially before a trial.
What's going on,
The defense has been very, very vocal about it. And how would you react? And this is, and I'm not.
Okay, is this what you're talking about with police cover up? You were kind of talking about that. I'm pretty sure in one of your comments, in case I'm mistaken it.
Presuming this case is one way or the other. But I always think about this. If I've been wrongfully accused of something, would I just sit back and wait for my moment in court?
Hell no.
Or would I literally be screaming on the steps of the courthouse so everyone knew that I was innocent?
You're damn right.
I think I would choose the latter. That's the way I would react. Now, someone could be guilty and react that way. But if I was innocent, knowing myself, despite what my attorneys may or may not be telling me, I think I'd be saying that, especially if I was accused of murdering someone that I cared about, someone that I loved. And that's the allegation in this case. Although prosecutors are saying they're in the middle of this big fight and this breakup, et cetera.
Whoa.
So here's the thing that has happened in this case, which again is another rare development, is that Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in.
Whoa. I see a mixture here. I see I'm Team Karen. Didn't she go back out driving later on looking for him? Oh, you know, Oki's going to be on that. This is my first time glancing at this. So I have no opinion on it whatsoever. That's why I'm locked in.
Large numbers in this usually sleepy courthouse in Norfolk County in Dedham, Massachusetts. I've been to that courthouse. There's not a million courtrooms there. I think there's actually 2 in the building. And the one where this case is being held is the very historical Sacco and Vanzetti courtroom. Not much happens in Dedham. I mean, it's not like there's a bunch of people, showing up. Like if you're in the middle of a big city, you could always find people that might show up at a courtroom. Here, you have to be there for a specific reason. And that's what happened, large numbers. And they are clearly supporting Karen Reed and think something is going on here that is terribly, terribly wrong. Again, at the outset, we want to investigate and get as much information as possible on the show as we continue to track this case as it moves towards a trial. I don't know. I haven't seen all the evidence. I haven't heard all the evidence. She's presumed innocent, but anyone that the defense is pointing the finger at is also presumed innocent, right? That's the way our system works. But tonight we're going to try to figure out what exactly is going on in that town. And for me, it begins with this outpouring of support for Karen Reed. Take a look at what is actually happening.
Check it out, Shelley.
In Dedham, Massachusetts, when there are hearings in this case. Take a look.
Whoa. Imagine seeing this during the beat kit. Oh. They're over there like, she really does got like a whole entourage out here. Free Karen Reed. I mean, she's really got support. It's a decent sized crowd there, and they're loud too. I don't know the details in this case, so I know where I stand.
Bing bong.
We're not putting up with that. We're right here today, Jim McDermott, and we're not going to be quiet. We got it.
Somebody just mentioned something on Johnny Depp in chat. Yep, Kelly. And there's I got a fun little night coming up. I've been scheduling for a while. I actually been talking about this for a while with Johnny Depp. It goes back to the Viper Room. It's gonna be one for acquiring minds. That's what this live's gonna be. When I do the Johnny Depp one, it's gonna be for acquiring minds. So I don't know when I'm gonna do it yet, but I want to do it. I actually want to do it really soon because I've been talking about it for too long. Johnny Depp Viper Room. I'm sorry, guys. There's a lot to talk about with that. Anthony Fox. Just do your research. Anthony Fox went missing a couple days before court with Johnny Depp. Very interesting. Very interesting circumstances. I first found out about it watching Ghost Adventures as far as like the case and stuff like that. I didn't even really know anything as far as like Anthony Fox and Johnny Depp and a few other people own this Viper Club, and a lot of shit went down there. There's a lot of history at the Viper Club, but Anthony Fox, he went missing, and his family reaching out and wanting to know what happened to him. Nobody ever found nothing. Couple days before court with Johnny Depp. Look it up.
Imagine one day you wake up and your daughter is telling you, Dad, they're telling me I killed John. They're telling me I killed John and I'm scared. And then you go, you're involuntarily sectioned for 5 hours in Brockton. At the same hospital, I believe, that the boyfriend has just been out there. You're sectioned there against your will. And then you were brought back to One Meadows Avenue, where the people who were kissing your when you were helping out their niece and nephew.
Yes, he
for the
did
last 2
overdose.
years, helping raise them. Those people are suddenly turning on you and telling you that you killed your boyfriend who you love dearly. So we are here because the institutions that we are supposed to trust, the police and the district attorney's office, have completely failed us. They've completely failed not only Karen Reed and not only John O'Keefe, but they failed all of us.
I mean, it's an unbelievable scene. I mean, it's reminiscent of the cheering that we heard at Johnny Depp's trial when I was there. And this is not a Hollywood star. This is an accused murderer getting a standing ovation as she enters the courtroom. What is going on out there? Well, the man who organized all of that is joining us tonight, our special guest, blogger, social media personality, owner of TB Daily News, and the man who organized the Karen Reed protest.
Yes, it is.
He's joining us tonight, apparently from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Aiden Carney, also known as Turtle Boy. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Vinny.
Let me start here. Aiden, Turtle Boy, what do you prefer?
You can call me Turtle Boy.
Okay, I'll go with Turtle Boy. No, not a problem. I understand. That's what everybody calls you. So let me start.
I'm pretty sure everyone has an opinion, right? Yeah, a lot of people have opinions on that case in general. Nancy, yeah, I'm biased to Nancy.
Yeah, here. I'm used to it now.
Yeah. So the first question, how did you get involved in this case? Like, you were a sports guy, weren't you?
No. I mean, I started the blog about 10 years ago about sports, and nobody really cared about sports. So I started really getting into investigative stories, and I became an award-winning journalist along the way. And I've built a pretty large following in the New England area. And so when stories like this happen, I gravitate towards them. But this particular story is by far the biggest and longest story we've ever done. We're on part like 97 at this point. I don't know how many hours of YouTube streaming shows we've done about this, but it just seems like it never ends. And, the following has obviously grown significantly as a result of this because the story is so...
It sounds like Turtle Boy is like a local out that way. That's what it seems like from what I'm gathering. I have no idea. I'm still listening.
Mesmerizing. It's just every day there's something new about the story that you couldn't be more shocked than the previous day. And then like yesterday we find out that Michael Proctor, the detective in this, made up a fake company that does not exist and wrote in his report that they plowed Fairview Road.
That's
a company
crazy.
that does not exist, in order to avoid interviewing the actual plow driver who I interviewed yesterday. And as it turns out, he went by 34 Fairview Road and he reported seeing no body. He said that he would have seen a body if it was lying there. He's a 217-pound man, 10 feet from the curb. He said there was no body on the ground. And the lead investigator for the Massachusetts State Police, who is good friends with the people who are believed to be the perpetrators of this horrible, horrific crime, has known these people his entire life. He lives in Canton, and he never interviewed the only eyewitness who can definitively say that there was no body on the ground on 34 Fairview Road that night.
And again, as I said off the top,
interesting.
Karen Reed presumed innocent. Everyone that the defense is accusing is presumed innocent as well. But we know this way this is playing out, and the defense is going to make these same accusations that you're making. That obviously we have no idea what the truth is, and hopefully everything comes out inside the courtroom, and the jury tells us eventually. So you have no personal connection to Karen Reed.
No, I didn't know who she was before this. I mean, I briefly saw it in the news when it happened last year and didn't pursue it. I thought it was a horrible tragedy when it happened, like a horrible accident. I think a lot of people assume that. And then what really caught my attention was a court filing in April about the Google search. Like that was what caught my attention. And I looked into it and I read Alan Jackson's 94-page affidavit accompanied by Richard forensic
Tell him, Sylvia.
What his exact title is, Richard Green. He's basically a data nerd. He looks through your phone, finds things to delete it. I read it all, and every page I read further, my jaw just dropped. And I said, this can't be happening. How is this real? And I assumed, like, they have a woman Googling at 2:27 in the morning who was inside that house, how long to die in cold, claiming that John O'Keefe never came in that house. So why would you Google that if you thought John O'Keefe was home in his bed, right? So when I saw that, I'm like, well, this is game over. Obviously, they have to drop the charges. This isn't, you trust the institutions, right? Like the district attorney's office can't be unethical and corrupt. They know this is beyond reasonable doubt.
Let me ask you this, like, because, you know, you're coming out and protesting, right? And you're organizing all these folks coming down there, making a lot of noise locally, challenging people, getting in their faces, et cetera, coming in and out of the courtroom. Have you always been skeptical of police? Is that where sort of you come from? You question the police as sort of a social activist?
No, I mean, if you look back on, you know, older stories I've written, I'm a right-wing guy. Like I'm a law and order guy. I'm a back the blue guy historically. During the BLM riots in 2020, we were very pro-police during that whole thing and didn't think that all police were like Derek Chauvin and just wanted to, you know, and so to have this happen, it feels like a betrayal of the trust that you put in these institutions. To have the cowardly, and that's what they are, the cowards of Canton, the cowardly Canton police, who first got to that scene at 6 a.m. and did not find a single piece of taillight or
cowardly.
A shoe. And then 12 hours later, when the state police took over, boom, they found taillight everywhere and a gigantic shoe, which somehow the Canton police missed. Now, if I'm the Canton police chief, I say, I stand by my men and I say, look it, my guys are competent. They would have seen that. Those were not there. But the cowards of Canton remain silent. And
you said, all I know is after I heard of the case and what the prosecution had, I felt like it was odd to arrest Karen.
Not a single officer in that entire department has any fortitude up and say, no. We need to put a stop to this. An innocent woman, you are trying to put her in a box for the rest of your life while her killers remain free in this town that we live in.
So are you from Canton? I know you get caught tonight. Are you on vacation?
No, I'm on vacation. Yeah, it's the last night of vacation.
That's what I figured.
I'm from a little town called Holden, right next to Worcester, second biggest city in New England. So it's about an hour away. So I go to Canton a lot these days.
So let me ask you this. You've got a lot of followers. The people that showed up at that courthouse, those protesters, are they local folks from Canton, or are they followers of yours who have gotten, you know, entrenched and committed to the story the way you have, who showed up from all over? Because I'm wondering, are we looking at potential jurors here?
Let's see it.
Well, I don't know how many live in Norfolk County. There's a lot of counties, and the county lines are kind of weirdly drawn in Massachusetts. But I doubt, I would probably say 5 to 10% of that crowd is a potential juror because they live in Norfolk County. Obviously, they would not be picked for the jury if they had jury duty that day based on their activism. But, you know, I mean, I would say like a very small percentage of that crowd is actually from Canton. I mean, these are people who,
I mean, it's not something that we haven't seen before, people cheering. And I mean, we've seen this in the Stephen Avery case, right? People standing out the courthouse. Free Avery. I mean, we've seen it with that case. I feel like. And then you see this, you just hear the crowds like free Karen Reed, and they're just damn.
So
I got to hear the backstory
I've never
too.
written a story like this that has gotten so much interest and outrage from people. Like if I died tomorrow, this movement would go on. People would keep protesting. I'm kind of like the leader of the movement, but it's taken on a life of its own. Yesterday at the Canton Town Select Board, one of the alleged perpetrators is on the Board of Selectmen, and a lot of Canton folks just showed up and began demanding he resign. I didn't urge anyone to do that. This is taken on a life of its own because it is that outrageous. I am not a conspiracy theorist.
Let me ask you this.
Let
me ask you this. Now, there were cheers for Karen Reed on the way into the courtroom, but there were boos for other folks who were walking in. Who was that, and why was the crowd booing people who were walking in? I mean, because Was it wasn't the was it the prosecution? Was it an officer? Who was it?
That's Carl Dougal. He's a local moron. He's a Boston detective.
He said he's a local moron. He don't care.
He is the only member of the Boston Police Department that believes Karen Reed did this. Normally, when a cop gets killed, police officers go to court.
So again, I mean, you called him a name. I just got to be careful with that.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. I get it. That's the way your show usually goes. Just tone it down just a little bit tonight in terms of the name calling. Because I don't know him. He could be a bright guy, could be the best guy in the world. I don't know.
I'm dead.
Oh, bing, my God. Problem with him. But he's from the Boston PD, is what you're saying?
I'm dead.
He's a Boston police detective.
Okay, so this took place in Canton, but the officers at the party and John O'Keefe and everyone else is really connected to Boston PD?
I mean, the only other person connected to Boston PD in that house is the homeowner, Bryan Albert.
Okay.
He has a brother who's on Canton Police. He's got another brother on the Board of Selectmen. But, this took place in Canton. It just happened to be two Boston cops in a Boston suburb, like not Boston itself. And so Carl is a former co-worker of his. And
that's wasn't that John O'Keefe's friend? Isn't that his friend?
Yeah, but a lot of John O'Keefe's friends are sitting on Karen Reed's side, including some of John's ex-girlfriends. Imagine that. Like ex-girlfriends aren't supposed to like the latest girlfriend. But they're sitting there with Karen on her side.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. I mean, his friend is dead, right? And he believes what he believes. Do you think?
Wow.
Do you think he's at fault here for believing what he believes at this point?
Yes. So first of all, I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody with who is that ignorant should be in charge of investigating any crimes at all. The fact that he's a Boston police detective makes me wonder how many times he has falsely arrested people for crimes that they did not commit. If he just
I get it,
bases this all on a hunch.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering what this scene is going to be like at the courthouse, right? For folks who are coming in. How about John O'Keefe's family?
Well, you know why we boo him, Vinny? Because anybody who is down there sitting on the prosecution side is knowingly supporting a sham. And every minute wasted on this sham prosecution of Karen Reed is a minute longer that the real people who killed John O'Keefe are out there free.
You said what? She definitely beat him up and broke bones in his face and body. Yeah, she did that. Absolutely. Steven is a cop.
Oh my God.
The FBI is investigating this. There's going to be indictments. There will be no trial in this. That is one thing I can almost guarantee you. There will be no trial. There will be indictments probably within the next 3 to 6 months would be my ballpark estimate.
All right. Turtle Boy, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you coming on and hope perhaps you'll come back in the future as we continue to track this case. Things develop.
I figured that.
And the only thing I would say from my perspective, just having covered trials for years, is that for family members and stuff going through, and it's their loved one, their friend that's on that is the victim in the case, just a little.
To be honest with you guys, I've never heard of this dude. So
it's tough for them. It's really a difficult spot for them emotionally. Like it's even tough for me just to sometimes approach them.
Right. I just want to make it clear that we didn't boo his mother or anything like that. I actually said, no, we're not going to say anything to his mother. I wanted to be very clear with that.
Okay.
Even his brother, I said the same thing. We're not going to do that. But Carl, it's a long story.
I know it's a long.
You don't like.
And you can watch all of Turtle Boy's work.
So I see a lot of split in the chat with people who like him and don't. I don't know. I've never heard of him till today. Karen Reed case.
On his blog, and
What's
you'll get to
on,
you'll understand exactly what he's talking about tonight. But we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Vinny.
Thanks so much. All right. I'm telling you, things are tense in the courtroom, out of the courtroom. Up next, we're going to speak with
local blogger
Karen Reed's attorneys. Plus, coming up next hour.
What's going on, Sarah? Welcome.
In the Bahamas, a love triangle and divorce
A man married 6 days to kill her.
A 27. Now he faces a jury.
That's what we're trying to figure out. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out. The Massachusetts.
Let's take that back a little bit. I want to see that. There we go.
So there's a cover up in it. So
Like I said, this is my first time even hearing about Karen Reed. Dead serious.
the cover up.
Your guess is as good as mine. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's exactly what we're trying to figure out. The Massachusetts, well, certainly the Massachusetts State Police is involved. There are people that were in that house that are involved. Bryan Albert.
I'm pretty sure didn't the trial end?
Is involved. Jennifer McCabe is involved. The rest of the folks that were in that house, there's some level of involvement by every one of them.
So you have a Boston police officer who's found dead on the lawn of a Boston police officer's home. Why was there no search warrant done of that home? Why was there no search for forensic evidence that he entered that home?
Start, yeah, okay.
That would have been done if it were you or me who owned that home.
The dog has been gotten rid of. Got rid of the evidence in the basement. Got rid of the house, the crime scene itself. Your Honor, I would submit to the court that evidence is literally being destroyed right under our nose.
It makes no sense to me. I think
I'm just hearing about it from Oki. It's a very interesting case. I'm already locked in on it. We're 23 minutes in, 40 minutes.
Going to make no sense to a jury.
And I've been saying this from the first time we covered this story, that this defense is extremely aggressive, very competent.
Jennifer Beeson.
And it continues. It absolutely continues. Let me bring in our guest joining us in Boston, Massachusetts. Karen Reed's defense attorney, David Yanetti's with us. Also joining us, he's on the other coast in Los Angeles, California. High-profile attorney. You've seen him many times on Court TV, co-counsel for Karen Reed, Alan Jackson. Alan, great to see you again. Great to see you, David, tonight. Let's begin here with something that I'm going to actually say Turtle Boy told us in the prior segment about this snowplow driver. David, how significant is this? Have you spoken to the snowplow driver? Wow. And is this the key witness for the defense?
Well, I would say it's one of the key witnesses for the defense. This is no less than bombshell evidence, Vinny. By the prosecution's theory of the case, my client supposedly struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle and left him on the lawn of Bryan Albert's property.
I'd be surprised if there's not a 48 hours or at least a dateline on this.
That would have been at 12:30 a.m. So when the snowplow driver went by to make a pass at 2:30 a.m., when he's checking the sides of the roads to make sure there's nobody there, not even an animal there that he would potentially hit, and he confirms that no body was on that lawn, in our view, this is ball game over.
All right, let me ask you about the other big thing, again, that Turtle Boy mentioned, that was that really struck him and struck all of us here at Court TV, was this Google search. Now, is this going to be a battle inside the courtroom as to when this search was done about a body dying in the cold? Is the prosecution saying this is after the body is discovered, and you guys are saying before? Is this going to be a battle of the experts? What's the status of all this, Alan? Because to me, this is crucial, right?
It is crucial, but to have a battle, you have to have two sides. There are no two sides to this. This doesn't come from us. This comes from Apple. The time of the search comes from Apple core data. In other words, it's not something that can be manipulated. It's not something that needs to be interpreted. It's something that just exists in the world as we know it. The Apple Cocoa core data indicates, or the core time indicates exactly what time that Google search occurred. That time was 2:27 and 40 seconds in the morning on January 29th. That's 3.5 hours.
Stephen A., they don't. They do. There, of course, idiots out there do that. But not only that, they'll get a burner and think it's safe, and then get tracked down on that burner, and then they get that burner phone and then get all that information. So it's like, it's crazy, man. People try to get away with it.
Body was found. Why is Jennifer McCabe one of the parties that was inside the house that night, the sister-in-law of Bryan Albert? Why was she Google searching? How long does it take
for
a human body to die in the cold? That's a question that we have posed to the prosecution over and over and over. And the Commonwealth doesn't have an answer for it. So they simply say, oh, well, we think maybe they got the time wrong. Except we didn't come up with the time. And we're using data from Celebrite, which is the exact same program that the prosecution relies on. Massachusetts prosecutors across the state and prosecutors across the country have relied on for not just years, for decades, to establish guilt and in some cases to establish that the defense uses to establish innocence. It's unfathomable that the prosecution would take the position, well, that timestamp is not right. We know it's right, and that also, to echo what David said, that is another aspect of this case that establishes this game is over. We know what happened inside the house. We just don't know who struck the fatal blow. Mm-hmm. And the prosecution, it doesn't seem to want to get to the bottom of it. We're trying to.
All right, let's get to the shattered taillight. As Alan was speaking, David, we were watching video, and that's Karen Reed's car, right? And what's the significance of this video? And is this where the taillight was actually shattered from your perspective, not during?
What is the year that this happened, chat? Because, or Oki, if you know, you just filled me in with this case. Like I said, I've never heard of this case until you just told me about it. So. When did this happen? When did she supposedly, allegedly kill him? Allegedly, because I have no idea if she did or not. I still don't have an opinion. What's going on, Anita? Nice to see you. Sadie Cat says laughable. That Turtle Boy says he is on the right. He is on the right wing because he is on the side of the law, all while supporting a SA abuser for president.
Oh my God! Excuse me. The fuck did you just say?
This is so interesting. It's crazy.
The murder of John O'Keefe?
Yes, there's no doubt that's when the taillight was shattered. And by the way, that's at 5 in the morning, 4.5 hours after it was supposedly shattered the night before. The taillight was intact when she left Bryan Albert's house. She came home, and this was Karen leaving to begin the frantic search for John O'Keefe. Now, I don't know that you can see it from the video that you have there, but there is no doubt that when that SUV comes into contact with what is John O'Keefe's vehicle parked in the driveway, you can see that rear tire move forward. Yeah. It rotates, and you also see the light shatter from the taillight being broken. So their theory is that this happened 4.5 hours earlier. We can prove it happened 4.5 hours later.
Okay, how about this, Alan Jackson? Is there going to be a paramedic coming inside that courtroom and saying that they heard Karen Reed, your client, say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
I don't know who's going to come to court and say what. I mean, it's very...
Got the Google degrees. No doubt. Google's your best friend. She didn't hit him backing out, I think, January 2020.
Easy for the prosecution to stand up and make all these sort of grandiose claims. These fans.
What's the evidence, though? Where's all the main evidence that she killed him? What's the evidence in the case? I'm not hearing besides
claims
this video.
About what they think the evidence is going to show. I can tell you this: there's going to be no reasonable evidence that she ever confessed to hitting John O'Keefe, because she didn't. Could she have questioned, oh my God, could I have hit him? That's a reasonable thing for a person in that circumstance to say. It's a reason.
So you see here, look how different, like within this case, you got the attorney of Karen Reed on Court TV talking. You're not seeing shit like that within the Bryankohberger case. You're not seeing them on no damn, you know what I'm saying? Not before a trial or anything. Like I haven't seen it.
Thing for a person in that circumstance to wonder. She's sitting there. The last time she saw John O'Keefe alive, he was stepping out of her car, walking up a driveway, walking into a doorway in a house that she wasn't familiar with. And several hours later, she sees his body outside in the cold, dying. right? Taking his last breath, and she's trying to jump on him, make sure that he gets some warmth in his body. She's trying to give him CPR. Keep in mind, she was absolutely, utterly frantic at that point. Could she have said, could I have hit him? That is a reasonable thing for her to have said. It's a reasonable thing for someone to have overheard. But keep in mind, I don't know what the paramedic's ultimately going to say. Everything that comes from that paramedic is coming through someone that's involved in John O'Keefe's murder. In other words, Jennifer McCabe, others inside the house, they have a connection. They have a relationship with that very same firefighter or that paramedic. That's why this is all very suspect. If the only thing that the Commonwealth has to rely on is...
One thing that I could see about this attorney is you could tell he's very into this case. You could just see it. I see it in him right away.
Some supposed statement, oh my gosh, could I have hit him? That's not enough to base a prosecution on. That's desperation.
Whoa. She Googled how long does it take to die in the cold? The fuck?
And every single other piece of physical and circumstantial and direct evidence points the exact opposite direction. The exact opposite direction to the Alberts, to the McCabes, to the people that were inside that house.
David, let me ask you this. We covered the Alan Murdaugh trial, and there was testimony about the movement of cell phones, and it was very specific. Like, it wasn't like it's generally in that area. They were able to track the movement of the cell phone. The prosecution painted a picture of Alec Murdaugh running around the house, pacing around the house, very specific location. What does the cell phone of John O'Keefe tell us in this case? Because to me, if it's all these hours or an hour that he's alive, is he moving in the house? Can you get that type of a location information? Are there searches done? Are there calls, text messages? Is he looking things up? Is anything like that happening on his cell phone, which I believe was found underneath his body?
Correct. And that in itself is curious that it was underneath his body and not in a pocket. But the answer to your question is two-part. Number one, Alan and I have been fighting tooth and nail to get all of the cell phone data that we can. And guess who has fought us back to prevent us from getting that information? It's been the prosecution. They have fought us when we have tried to get the cell phone data of everybody in that house, which they should want to get to the truth.
But John O'Keefe is the key, right? I mean, isn't the tech? I mean, we saw it in the Murdaugh trial. This technology can be extremely precise in the location of these cell phones and the movements.
He said, "What?"
Right. So that's the second answer, or the second part of my answer.
Hold up. I need you to repeat that one more time for him, Vinny. I don't think they heard you in the back, buddy. Let's repeat.
This technology can be extremely precise in the location of these cell phones and the movements. Bing bang.
Right. So that's the second answer, or the second part of my answer. That the Apple Health data that Alan referenced earlier shows that he did walk approximately 80 steps and went up and down approximately 3 flights of stairs. You don't do that by getting out of a vehicle and being struck by the vehicle.
I think we can all agree that it's more accurate now than it's ever been.
I think Alan had said at one point, you know, what did he do? Did he do laps around the car and start jumping up and down and then got hit? It's fanciful. It's ridiculous. We know he went in that house. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there was a witness that saw Karen alone in the vehicle with her hands 10 and 2 on the wheel, and nobody else was around her. This prosecution.
When I learn all the details about this case, I'm gonna do a TCW on it, a True Crime Walks episode, just talking about it. But I have to learn the details before I could even really have the right to speak about it, because it's hard to really start picking up the case and talking about something when I got to learn the facts of it.
Is a walking zombie.
I need to know the facts in this.
The DA's office just doesn't know it yet, or they refuse to acknowledge it.
And Vinny, it's important to understand, if I could just dovetail onto David's point.
We have about 30 seconds, that's all. I'm sorry.
I can do it in 15. The prosecution's entire theory is John O'Keefe stepped out of the
Definitely a good
passenger side of the
conversation,
vehicle. He was hit and he was disabled. Done. There would be no movement from his cell phone. You're exactly right. The Apple Health data is extraordinarily precise. It shows him taking 88 steps. It also shows him going up and down 3 flights of stairs at the 3-story house, and then taking 30 steps after that at 12:31 a.m. At or after 12:31 a.m. If he stepped out of the car and was hit, the Apple Health data would show absolutely nothing whatsoever. When the prosecution is asked by David and myself, explain that, they simply say, we have no explanation.
All right.
It can't be relied on. Every time they don't like an answer, they say it can't be relied on.
Alan Jackson, David Unetti, I know you're super busy. We really appreciate your time tonight, giving us much more insight into this case. And hopefully we'll speak again.
It's an important case, Vinny. Thanks so much. For the time.
Absolutely. All right. Whew. Up next, folks, we're gonna get an independent opinion on all of this. We're gonna bring in one of Massachusetts' finest attorneys and legal minds next.
Let's hear it then. I'm ready for it. Let's hear it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to.
This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
I was covered in his blood.
Okay, so this hour we've heard from Turtle Boy, who, along with his followers, believes that Karen Reed is falsely accused. The attorneys who tried to laid out some very compelling evidence. So I wanted to bring in like an independent mind to take a look at all this. And you're in Massachusetts, there's only one place you go. Let's bring in our guest. Joining us in Boston, Massachusetts, former child abuse prosecutor, law professor at New England Law, Wendy Murphy, back with us. Wendy, great to see you.
You too, Vinny.
All right, so what's happening there in Canton, Massachusetts?
That was covered in his blood.
In Dedham, Massachusetts. What are your thoughts about this? Is it possible that there is some sort of a police cover-up here?
You know, that's the big question, and I know how the issue has been framed. Either there's a big cover-up or she's guilty of murder, and I kind of come down in the middle. You know, my feeling from the beginning of this case was that she probably did hit him. He banged his head on the driveway. She didn't plan to hit him. She didn't want.
My question to everybody is who, all right, if it's a cover up, who is a lot of people thinking helped cover it up? If you think it's a cover up, who's covering it up?
To kill him.
Her?
And that he was covered by the snow, which is why no one found him until the following day. And it was really the fact that police overcharged her with murder. I don't think any jury will ever find her guilty of murder, period, because I don't think anybody will be able to prove that she wanted to kill him. But she's charged with murder. And I think when a defense attorney gets involved in a case where it appears their client has been overcharged, and likely overcharged because this was a cop, and the cops have a very nice relationship with the district attorney who gets to decide what the charges are. If there's an overcharge,
so this is what I'm looking for. Police might not be covering up. They might just be going off the people in the house as statements. I'm just trying to figure out who, you know, people think is covering this case up. Exactly, John, covering it up. I'm just curious about who's covering it up. Coppers, of course. Okay, I get you. Sell house, get rid of rug. Her with people she knew. So her with people she knew. Maybe you guys suggesting cops. I see some people that are suggesting cops. What's going on, Chad? Welcome to the stream, Chad. Nice to see you tonight. Where is this? Where is this hat? The people in the house. Mustang Sherry says. So the people in the house. A lot of you are thinking, okay, I see what's going on here. So people think the people in the house helped her cover this up. Okay. Either she had no idea she hit him, but if so, wouldn't have never entered the house then. Arlene Wiley says, Hollis, yes, they never searched the house. John says, I'm just speculating. I've only heard about this case tonight. Okie Angel says, if you were a police officer and an EMS worker, wouldn't you come out of your house when the ambulance showed up? Nobody came out of that house at all. Huh.
This is a serious overcharge. This is life behind bars, second-degree murder overcharge. If she in fact committed at best manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, because she was under the influence and she, I think, did accidentally kill him, then the question is, why is the defense?
Okay, so thanks for filling me in on this. This helps a lot. So you're saying, so Carlos says the people in the house were cops. I think they all are lying. Okay.
Characterizing this as a conspiracy by the police. And my sense of that, just tactically speaking,
all we're lying,
is that the defense wants to use their strategy, their theory of this was a murder by one of the other people at the house, and they're trying to cover it up and pin it on her. But the real theory, I think, here is that if they can even get the judge to buy into the idea that it might have been someone in the house, then they're going to get access to all the police files, all their employment files, all their disciplinary records. And that's going to give Karen Read leverage, the leverage she needs to pressure the prosecution to lower the charge to manslaughter, to give her some kind of not only lower charge, but ultimately a much lesser punishment. So that's really what I think is going on here. There was an overcharge, and in a sense, there's an over defense.
And I did catch your comment before, Marlon, where you said that 2 months ago she was the opposite, the chick that's talking now. I did catch your comment that where you did say that. I caught that.
Where we're hearing things about police conspiracies.
I mean, couldn't be on more polar opposite sides here. So let me ask you this: what's if we do go to trial, right? And I always prepare for that moment here at Court TV. What do you think the temperature is in Norfolk County, in Dedham, Massachusetts, for jurors to think?
I mean, but what's? Oh my God, I'm gonna go to jail. Like, do we think it's one of those situations where it was an accident? Oh, I'm gonna go to jail forever, and then inside, don't worry, we can make it look like an accident, cover up. So I see where people are going with that aspect. And then you got some people that flat out think she killed him. Allegedly. You got people that flat out think she killed him. And then I see you got the people that are Team Karen. She didn't do it. Team Karen. Free her. I see what we got going on here.
That their police are capable of this.
Well, there's a lot of support for Karen Read here, and whether people think she's just overcharged or outright innocent and had nothing to do with it, there's a lot of support for Karen Read. And here's the problem. When the prosecution overcharges someone and they blame the police for why there's an overcharge, there's a real risk that the jury's going to come back and punish the prosecution for doing that. If the jury thinks this was an accident, they're going to be angry that she was charged with murder, and that could translate into an outright not guilty as a way of, bringing democracy to the case, punishing the government for overdoing it. I can see that happening, and there's no question all the potential jurors, which will have to come from that area of Massachusetts, are watching this. They're watching all the support for Karen Read mount. And yeah, I mean, this is a country where the climate around support for police is unfortunately not good. I don't support that. I think we need good cops. And it's really, unfortunate that that is tainting this case to some extent. But I would say this, the defense has the upper hand, not because people think Karen Read is innocent, but because they think she's being unjustly prosecuted.
Kind of like Sacco and Vanzetti. Anyway.
So they think that she's, I see what's going on with it. So they think that she's being. Boston cop slapped my ass up. Oh man, the autopsy holds the main clues. I need to see like a full. Maybe there is a 48. Let's look real quick. By the way, this week I think I might be trying out a few different platforms too. Just for other material that we could watch together. Because YouTube won't let you, their TOS is a little different. But there's a couple new websites out that I've been keeping my eyes on. He was killed in the house and left outside to be found. The snowplow guy ruined their lives. T-REV, look it up. What is Shani talking? What did you look it up? I can't wait for the experts and medical examiner. He broke up with her via text. She was upset with him. She did not want to break up. There's got to be a dateline or 48 hours that I could catch up on. That'll give me all the deets, because this gave me some, but I didn't feel like I heard the whole story. So I'm gonna have to catch up on that. Don says there's injuries on the deceased arm, which the prosecution says it's from being hit by the vehicle. Defense is saying it's from him getting beat up and scratches from a dog.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we'll have to check this one out. Let me see. Karen Reed. See if there's one out there. An aired video of Karen Reed requested by prosecutors. Oh, shit. There's more and more. Looks like I need to do my research on this case. Anyways, I'm going to have to get out of here. I appreciate you guys coming by and joining me tonight. I will be back tomorrow. Definitely be live tomorrow. Maybe same time or maybe in the morning. I can't give you a guarantee, but definitely keep your notification bell on. Check for lives. I'll be back on tomorrow. Love you guys. Thank you for pulling up. All the mods, everybody who came by, hung out, watched videos, talked, conversated. Love and light. Prayers to everybody. Thank you for all the love and just being positive in general. Oh my God, this case is giving me shit. Dateline, Trev. If that's what I need to go watch it. Trev, do you know if they got a DNA sample directly from BK after his arrest to see if it matches sheath or only? No, they didn't get it directly after that I know of. Do you know if they got a DNA sample directly from BK after his arrest? I'm sure they did when they processed him, because that's how they'll do it anyways. But yeah, when you get processed, they're definitely for what he did. You're definitely taking it. They're definitely getting his DNA. Yes, but as far as matching it up to everything else, I have no idea. You know, I know they got it out of the garbage can in Idaho. I do know that for a fact. They matched his dad into the system and it matched there. But I don't know about after the fact when he did get arrested. That's a great question. All right, here we go. Here we go. I love you guys.
I count my blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
It wouldn't be the same with none of y'all by my side. You hold me down every day and it makes me strive. I wake up and look forward to doing these lives. A lot of y'all really came and opened up my eyes, and I hope I gave it back because it came with yours. No matter what they say, I know I opened up them doors. I brought a family together even though shit was rough. They tried to shut us down, but we really shut them up. No matter what, we stand together when shit gets tough. I wanna thank everyone for showing me love. The Rev Gang family is something I cherish and love, and I'll smack anyone for fucking with us.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you.
No one making a voice to the voiceless. People get killed for other stupid choices. Standing up for the families that took a loss is something that we find important. Rap game strong, chest up. Little homie, keep your head up. You can be whatever you want. Get rid of the fake and it will add up. All my life I strive for greatness. I'm in a invested my time with patience. People try to copy us, but respect is earned, it's not an obligation. I love the fam and they love me back, and that's why I always have the backs. I give a voice to those people who were never given a chance for them slimy cats. When you come here, you ain't a number to me. I really take time to read what I see. Don't forget to lock your doors, cause there's danger all up in these streets. Y'all really put life into the air that I breathe. I really am thankful for all of my peeps. Your loyalty means a lot to me, so this is a special thank you from me.
Blessings for the days when I was down and losing faith. They made me patient. All I can say is thank you. I really wouldn't be the same if I ain't gone through all the pain. Look what it made me. All I can say is thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanna change my life, cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that dough, cause all I know is how to hustle. All people try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son. Listen, need my life to change. I'm tired of going bad. I'm tired of being overlooked. I'm tired of being mad. Being sick to death inside, just ain't getting it. Modified, fortified, unsatisfied, I'm losing it. On my knees, I'm begging for change. Trying to rearrange, free myself from these chains. Prison walls inside my brain, closing in on me, consuming me, it's driving me insane. Jesus, I'm begging for your help. I'm so confused, feeling overwhelmed, surrounded by all of this ungodly-ish. I pray for you to change my situation quick. I just wanna change my life, cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that dough, cause all I know is how to hustle. All people try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son. Listen, I wake up every day, it feels so cold. I keep on looking to find my lost soul. Jesus, take the wheel, provide damage control. Help me to pick up the pieces, help me to be whole. I keep my head high as I fight through the days, hearing the demons' laughter, I'm caught in their haze. Try to bring me down, I refuse to frown. I fall on my knees and pray to the King of Kings. Change my life, change my ways. I'm praying for better days, cause I'm sick of the haze. I need a change, I'm tired of the struggle. I'm begging you, Jesus, won't you help your brother? I just wanna change my life, cause every day I wake up, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle. I strap up my boots and hit that dough, cause all I know is how to hustle. All people try to stop me, I ain't never giving up. I keep my head above my shoulders, I ain't never gave a fuck. I put my all into everything that I ever done. I pray to God it pays off, that's why I'm talking to his son. Listen.
The size, Louis Beats.
I don't hang the fuck around, yo. None of y'all are down, yo. Claiming you're my homie, but you praying on my downfall. Block up, make this fucking face, eat the ass. asshole. Staying in my lane, you stay in yours, and that's just that, dog. You stay in your lane, and I'ma stay in mine. I'm out here getting to this paper like the New York Times. A lot of people wanna see me take a fall, but I done rose above it all. Middle finger to them loud. Fuck 'em. They need a couple blessings, so I'll teach them a lesson. Benji behind the keys in the street, you're a peasant. And I just use what God gave me, I love what he left me. I feel the passion in my soul, but y'all wish that it left me. But I don't give a fuck about you little punks, cause all you do is run around and wait for me to pop up. Then you put around your mouth, but who's the one that's on my page? All you suckers really do is try to bring around the hate. That's why I lock you at the gate. Separate all the snakes and throw them all in the pit and watch them burn with the fakes. I sat back for a couple of months just to see who was real. Now I know all the runts. Let's go. Fuck around, yo. None of y'all are down, yo. Claiming you're my homie, but you bringing on my downfall. Block up, make his fucking face, eat the ass, yo. Staying in my lane, you stay in yours, and that's just that, dog. Ain't no fuck around, yo. None of y'all are down, yo. Claiming you're my homie, but you bringing on my downfall. Block up, make his fucking face, eat the ass, yo. Staying in my lane, you stay in yours, and that's just that, dog. I go to bat when it comes to my kin. I had your back, you left me hanging like a fucked up friend. Now I'm focused on myself, I never folded on the shelf. And I ain't never giving up, that's what I always told myself. Stay working on my health, one step at a time. I got goals and I'ma reaching for the cost of the grind. I don't care what it costs. Best believe I raised the bar for myself. I'm in a different weight class, fuck everyone else. Man, fuck all of them. Where were you when I was struggling like last week? Where were you at? Couldn't post no new music for like 12 weeks. Now it's like, yo, I learned one lesson. There's a ton of sheep people out for themselves, so I just let them be. I had to learn a lesson to understand what I had. This whole time I had this music shit here in the bag. People hitting me up like, Trev, I'm glad you're back. I never disappeared, homie, I was just leaning back. Ain't no fuck around, yo. None of y'all are down, yo. Claiming you're my homie, but you bringing on my downfall.
Wake up. Yo, if I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I'll be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round the way, so they gon' fuck with me regardless. If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I'll be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round the way, so they gon' fuck with me. Yeah, they gon' fuck with me. I'm posted in the cut, you see. I got some bitches with me, they riding regardless of the scene. I've been around the block more than once, a couple of times. I mean, but homie, I ain't snitching. You want it, go spin the block and see. I've been about my money. These bitches can't even touch the green. I got a new track for these hoes. I'm calling it fuck with me. These hoes broke, sitting at home, don't know if they making means. I'm clocking in and cashing out. I'm watching them numbers flink go. If I hop out on them, I'ma let them know. I let them know. I get that money, hit the road. I gotta go. I keep it hot. I make it rain. I make it snow. Ain't no relation to the bitch you used to know. Let's get it go. If I pull up on them, I'ma let them know. I get that money, hit the road, I gotta go. I keep it hot, I make it rain, I make it snow. Ain't no relation to these hoes, cause what's a gangster to a. If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I'll be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round the way, so they gon' fuck with me regardless. If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping me from ballin'. Hit the block and I'ma spin it. Hit the gas and I'll be on it. They gon' label me regardless. They gon' label me a target. Been that bitch from round the way, so they gon' fuck with me.
Push the gas and I be on it, I ain't pushing on no brakes. You a rattlesnake, step into an earthquake. All these rappers in the game, there's some cornflakes. On the radio, sounding like a running sink. Pump, hold my YouTube, homie, starting to turn fake. Get a taste of fame and all of a sudden wanna hit the bank. Every song I heard from you belongs in a septic tank. Now I'm launching missiles at your camp like a Russian tank. You voted for body, then now we playing puppet. Got the brain of a deep fried chicken nugget. Got cops letting these kids die, so I scream, you should've did something. If it was me with that gun, I would've been dumped. 1 hour goes by and y'all did nothing. If a cop won't shoot, then taking guns means nothing. You wanna take the world's full of hate, all these leaders show corruption. Fucking new world order, I bet I go out busting.
If I want it, I'ma get it. Nothing stopping